It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers and Orion Sports Medicine. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. It's been raining and pouring and windy and cold and then hot and humid and muggy, and now the sun is out, and now the clouds are covering it up again. What do we always say? Only in Ohio, my least favorite saying of all time. But again, happy Monday. Kev, you have a good weekend.
Good weekend. Got some yard work done. Went for a bike ride. Got dragged to the mall. So, yeah, the
Dragged
usual.
to the mall.
Dragged to the mall. Yeah, she had to
Let's
go to
be
the
honest. I don't know if Shayla knows the problem you have with buying shoes.
I'd buy them online.
Okay, fair enough. I was just going to say, hold on, time out. Wait a minute.
I don't need to go to the mall.
You know, I used to, so when I was in sales where they drop off the mail in our office, like every day Kev was getting stuff dropped off. And every day I started noticing that little Nike, sign on I was like, this dude, I was like, so he must be getting a lot of promotional items. No, you have stuff sent here.
Yeah.
So that Shayla doesn't know.
Yeah, just sneak it in the house, man. Sneak it in the
I hope
house.
Shayla's like Nora and doesn't listen to our show.
No, she listens to the show, and she's a sneakerhead too. So it really doesn't matter.
So Shayla got bit by the bug too.
Yeah, she's got sneakers. She's got purses, every Louis bag you can imagine. She got her eye on, just waiting for the right time to buy it, man. So yeah, I'm not the only one with a shopping habit in the house, but I didn't feel like going to the mall. But it's nice outside. Let's go somewhere. So we went up to the Green, then we went up to Fairfield Commons. Just got out the house a little bit. It was cool though. It's good.
I golfed a lot. I got a lot of yard work done. Got a lot of stuff done around the house. So it was not a very exciting weekend, but I got I worked out a ton this weekend. It actually was a good weekend. It was actually nice to have a weekend where you just kind of sit back and chill a little bit and relax and aren't always on the run. All my family's from up north, or the majority of my family's from up north. So, we're always on the road all the time, going home on weekends, coming back and everything like this. It was just nice to stay home for a little bit. But I'm hearing the chime in my sleep. Go ahead and hit it. Just because we're wrapping this draft stuff up. There it is. I'm hearing it in my sleep. I watched every single pick pretty much from this entire NFL draft.
Are you serious?
Pretty much every single one. And then, I tell you what, after the draft, you start seeing guys who tweet out to Mel Kiper, and I'm not just using ESPN as an example, but thanking them for all the work that they put into the coverage of this draft. Do you realize that those dudes sat there it's a dream job? I would kill to work on draft day, to be there, in Cleveland, wherever it is. Mm-hmm. Those dudes sit there. Those guys and gals sit there. I mean, they're not relaxing in Cleveland. Oh, the draft is in Cleveland. This is going to be fun. Next year it's in Vegas. They're not experiencing the whole time. These guys they're working 24 hours a day. It is nonstop. I was actually, I'm going to sound like I'm putting my chest out and acting all cool, talking with Jason Fitz about how it was Cleveland. He was on the go constantly. It was never he just said he goes watching everyone sprinting around. You're on the phone constantly with every contact you have at every team to get the latest scoop, to get the latest soundbite, to get the latest piece of information. You're calling around to who you think is going to be drafted on this day, and you're just trying to get as much information. There's so many moving parts. That's just the ESPN side. Fox did a great job with their coverage. NFL media comes together as one. I saw on ESPN too, they were carrying that Good Morning Football or Good Morning Quarterback or whatever that show is from the NFL Network or whatever. Mm-hmm. Everyone was sharing coverage throughout the week, because it's just a collaborative effort. That's how the NFL works. The NFL comes out and says everyone's going to bid on certain things. Like Amazon Prime came out. By the way, Thursday Night Football, you have to have an Amazon Prime account to be able to watch Thursday Night Football coming up. It's streaming only. Yep. Found that interesting. So the NFL, when all these media outlets are bidding, it's not like ESPN wins all the coverage. I mean, there's Fox, there's CBS, there's ESPN, there's everybody. And it's the NFL has set it up to where you are all covering the NFL. You are all our talking pieces. Basically, all these media outlets work for the NFL, and that's why everyone kind of collaborated and worked together. Overall, there's so much work, and it's fun the first night, but then when you're talking about guys you haven't heard of, I mean, these guys are butchering names. These guys, there was selections coming in, and they're talking about a cornerback. I remember a cornerback was drafted, and they were talking about a linebacker, and oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about, it got all jumbled, but that's how much they're working, and so much information coming in at one time. But it was unbelievable. I love the draft. I'm a draft nerd when it comes to that.
Not to mention mention the elements they were fighting in Cleveland, because it may have looked good on TV, like the sets and everything like that, but it was cold. It was windy. They had heaters up there. Like, I remember I tuned in part of it, and I saw Desmond Howard. He was wearing gloves, leather gloves and everything like that. And they like showed the space heaters that they had by their legs and everything like that. So they were
Kimes was wrapped up in like this huge like blanket and everything. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Only in Ohio, right?
Only. Oh yeah, exactly. Only in Ohio. All right. So let's get to it. Browns, Bengals, whatever team you follow. Remember, I collect teams like Pokemon cards. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm a Browns fan. I feel pretty damn good. I tell you what, I think the Browns just absolutely dominated the draft. I was kind of bored being a Browns fan with the draft and then not having any good quality picks. They may not have had good quality selection or like picks as far as pick order, but the guys that came away with, getting Greg Newsome in the first round, as we talked about on Friday, but then to get a linebacker in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, that was a guy that was in every first round mock draft that I came across, whether it was ESPN, whether it was Fox Sports, whether it was, the random blogger guys out there that put out their mock drafts, whatever. That was a first round talent. And I thought that was fantastic to get that linebacker in there because that's what they needed. My thing is with Cleveland, their secondary was already their strength with what they did in this offseason during free agency, and they didn't stop. I mean, they added the cornerback in Greg Newsome. They added, that Richard LeCounte from Georgia later in the draft, which, in the fifth round, you're swinging for the fences late in the draft. I mean, let's not act like these teams know. I mean, everything's potential, but there's more film. There's more clear-cut evidence of, how a player is going to project into the league in the earlier rounds. Like, I think you're swinging and hoping to make contact late in the rounds. I'm not saying that there's nothing there. There's countless examples of talent that's taken late that ends up being Pro Bowl talent, sometimes as early as year 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying you can't find talent late, but it's a guessing game late or whatever have you. So, but I thought that the Browns, they went in on defense. I mean, it looks like cornerback, linebacker, defensive tackle, linebacker, safety. They added a couple wide receivers. I like the kid from Auburn and Anthony Schwartz. You talk about a speed guy. I thought the only fast guy that can create separation was Jamar Chase, but it turns out that if you would actually watch the draft coverage, there was a lot of guys that are actually very good at separation. That could be a big pickup right there. Again, it wasn't a drastic need, but I think that's, sometimes you learn on the draft picks, Kev, sometimes teams are looking ahead. They're looking at, we don't know. My thing about the Browns, Kev, is this. I think they're going to unload a lot of talent at the end of the year. I think they're going to release Hooper. I don't think Hooper is going to be a long-term tight end in Cleveland. Really? I think this roster was set up to go all in this year, and I think they're going to go all in this year. But after this year, they got to decide what they're doing with Baker. They just put the fifth-year option on Denzel Ward. Nick Chubb's going to be the primary, the main focus of discussion as far as what to do with his future. So the fact that the Browns went that direction, I think that's something to keep an eye on. Maybe Jarvis Landry, maybe it's OBJ that they move on from. The Browns are going to look a lot different on the offensive side of the ball moving forward, but I think as long as their run game's intact, as long as that offensive line is their primary focus, I think they can interchange a lot of the wide receivers, but they are going all in on defense to make sure that they have a lasting, impression as far as that goes, because in the AFC North, you have to have good defense. There's no doubt about it. That's the definition of what that division is. The Ravens, the Steelers, even the Bengals. I'll get to the Bengals in a moment. I think they added a lot of very good key defensive pieces. They added way more defense than I thought. Still disappointed in what they did offensively, but I can't argue that what the Bengals have done defensively, when you combine last offseason with this offseason, they did a good job. You being a Steelers fan, when you watch what the Browns did, especially getting basically 2 first-round quality guys in the first and second round, what was your thoughts?
Browns did great. Plain and simple.
Andrew Berry's a beast, man. They run
a I guess you can call it a college defense, but they run a 4-2-5. So they're only on the field with 2 linebackers at a time. They run a whole bunch of guys in the secondary. So when you add another starting caliber corner to your team, you only get better because you're already going to be out there with 3 cornerbacks anyway. So if you got 3 starters and the injury history of a Denzel Ward and a Greedy Williams, you have to have another caliber starter out there if they get hurt. So that's why you got Greg Newsome. Then you look at the JOK pickup, a first-round talent in the second round. And another guy that I'm sure Buckeye Nation is going to love, Tommy Togiai. Former Buckeye, he got drafted in the 4th round by the Cleveland Browns. So you talk about like the Danny Shelton situation with him getting cut, you pick up Tommy Togiai and you sign the undrafted free agent out of Florida State at the defensive tackle. He got one of the biggest contracts. His actually contract is bigger than any contract that a 7th or 6th round pick guy will sign. So you got two guys that can potentially take the place of Danny Shelton. I think the Browns did a great job by attacking the needs on their defense. They needed a linebacker. They got a first caliber guy there. They needed an additional cornerback. They got that. And now they got two other defensive tackles to take the spot of the starter in Sheldon. They did great.
So to me, after round 3, and this goes for any team, and this is just how I view it. Again, there's talent in the late rounds. In fact, you hear it all the time that's the meat and potatoes of your team right there. Of course, you put all the dressing and you dress it all up with the, free agency in the first 3 rounds. But anything after round 3, I think you're hoping you've done enough homework to justify picking them, and what they're, what maybe you envision them being, but you have no idea. Not saying that you're guaranteed to know for rounds 1 through 3, but drafting Tommy Togiai, if you're the Cleveland Browns, which I absolutely love, especially him being a Buckeye at defensive tackle. Again, the Browns are in a position where I still don't think they did a good enough job addressing the pass rush. I mean, they are going all in on their. I mean, if they don't have the best secondary by the end of the season, I don't know what to tell you, because that was their main area of focus. They upgraded linebacker. I still think that. I'm losing it. The pass rusher that Cleveland let go. That they let go to after they signed Jadeveon Clowney. No, they signed Jadeveon Clowney and then Sheldon Richardson. Sheldon Richardson. Yeah. So they let him go. I still think they're bringing him back. I still think he's coming back, because I was a little taken back at Cleveland's not dumb. I can't believe I'm saying that for once. Cleveland and Andrew Berry aren't dumb. That was a need, even though you signed Clowney and you have obviously a pass rush in Myles Garrett. It was still like once you sign Clowney and you let him go, it's like it kind of counteracted that. It's like he complimented everybody else on that defensive line when you signed Clowney. I still think Richardson's coming back. I still think they're going to get a deal done. He's still a free agent. I think Cleveland finds a way to get that done. And if that happens, I think they're one of the most well-rounded defenses in the league at that point. Now, it has to happen on the field, but on paper, I can't say enough about how Cleveland revamped the offense last year. I gave them an A++. No, not because I'm a homer. Last year, I gave them an A++ on what they did to fix that offense and to focus primarily on the offense. This year, it was all defense, and I think that they strengthened the defense as much as they did the offense last year. Cleveland's going all in this year. I think they're going to release some big names at the end of this year because they can't afford to keep everybody, but they went all in this year. They love their offense. Now I think they feel pretty good about the defense, and if the defense clicks and matches what the offense is doing, not trying to rub it into you, but they might get more playoff wins coming up here in what is a very tough AFC. I promise you.
Absolutely. AFC is tough, very tough. And you think about the AFC North, 3 teams went to the playoffs last year. I don't see that happening this year. I don't see 3 teams making it from the AFC North this year. I only see 2.
Why do you not see that?
I just don't. I see all the other teams making upgrades too. Like other teams are trying to win it too. You know what I'm saying? The guys that we kind of like pencil in already for that position to make a run is Kansas City. But you got to think about what the Colts did too. As much as Carson Wentz may be a bleep hole, he's still a good quarterback. He still had good years prior to last year, and him linking back up with his old OC there. Their defense is lights out at in Indianapolis, so you're thinking he's going to bounce back, and all the moves that the Dolphins have made, you're figuring like they're going to take a step up. Like they won 10 games last year. Then you look at what's going on with the Bills. Then you look how much money that the Patriots spent. You're expecting Cam Newton to play like he did the entire year, like the first half of the year, the whole year. So like it's a lot of teams that have made upgrades throughout the AFC. So I'm thinking that it's not going to be a whole bunch of teams from the AFC Central making the playoffs. I think it's only going to be 2.
The AFC too, when you look at what the Chargers did, the Chargers had a very bad offensive line, about equally as bad, if not worse, than the Bengals last year. Justin Herbert goes on to win Rookie of the Year. And of course, you can argue it was Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence's. Jesus, Justin, what is wrong with you? Too many names. Joe Burrow's award to lose last year. I will never say that Joe Burrow was a guaranteed Rookie of the Year last year, because if you watch how Justin Herbert played, like I'm actually really bummed what is wrong with me today? I've been chugging this coffee. That's my problem. I was disappointed when Joe Burrow got hurt last year, because if you saw the job that Justin Herbert did, Justin Herbert shattered every rookie record that was imaginable last year. Shattered Baker Mayfield's total touchdown record from a few years ago. Joe Burrow was on pace to he didn't throw a lot of touchdowns. I thought Burrow, one of his weaknesses was capping off scoring drives. But as far as total yards and moving the ball up and down the field, it would have been really fun to watch Justin Herbert against Joe Burrow for the entire season, because I think it really would have come down to that last week to see who would have edged out to win Rookie of the Year. But if you look at the Chargers, they had Corey Linsley, they get Jared Cook, the tight end in free agency on top of that, and then they get Rashawn Slater, a first-round caliber talent in the second, and that'll get me to the Bengals coming up here in a moment. I think that the Chargers drastically improved offensively to protect their quarterback. I think that the Chargers did a better job for their quarterback than what the Bengals did for theirs. I know I'm a hater, blah, blah, blah. Let's get it all out now. But I love what the Chargers did. To go back to your point about the AFC, that's going to be another team to keep an eye out on, because if Herbert takes that next big step after the great rookie year he had, Chargers need a little help on defense, but offensively, they're going to win a lot of games because of that offense alone, and we'll see what they do here moving forward. Still a lot of good wide receivers available that they can add to the mix.
Ton of good wide receivers out there available. Also, you got to think about, we're talking about how good the AFC is going to be. There's still that big rumor out there about Rodgers
going to the Broncos and that division. I mean, look out.
I mean, think about it, man. Like, think how crazy that would be. I mean, you got the Broncos with Aaron Rodgers potentially, and then obviously you got Mahomes with KC. So you're thinking that's two teams. Then you go ahead and look at the AFC South. You're thinking that the Titans are still going to make a run for it with that heavy run game. They got the best running game in the league. Well, best running back in the league, at least. Then you got the Colts looking to upgrade because they got the lights out D. Now they're expecting to get more out of the quarterback position. We talked about the Browns. We figured that, all right, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to be battling it out as well. And then you look at Buffalo. You look at what the Dolphins upgraded to. And then you look at the Pats. It's a lot of good teams out there that made a lot of moves, not only in free agency, but in the draft that upgrade their team. It's going to be a knockout race to see who gets that last spot in the playoffs, man. It's going to be crazy in the AFC.
There's going to be the team that just misses the playoffs out of the AFC is going to be probably good enough to compete to win one of the divisions in the NFC. That's how good the AFC is going to be. I mean, there's a lot of big, very good teams out there. And luckily they have expanded the playoffs this coming up season 2. They've kept that. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. Again, 17th game to the regular season and all that. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Head to YouTube, search ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. You can also jump on the Facebook page, search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, like and follow along, and you'll be able to chime in the chat section. So Kev, let's go to the chat section. Bengals fans, we're going to get to the Bengals in a moment. My grade for the Bengals is not as bad as what you would think, so let's just cool it. You don't have to tune in to me ripping them too much. I'm still going to be critical. I do not think they did enough for Joe Burrow, but we'll get to that in just a second. To the Facebook chat we go. Scott Whetstone on Facebook. Let me make sure that this is one that you can read right here. It says Dolphins had a draft. Love the Sweet Caroline moment during the draft when the commissioner sang along with the cover band. He's weird, man. Not you, Scott. Scott, you're cool. I'm talking about the commissioner. And I mean, he knows he's disliked. He knows he is hated. And yet he goes up there and smiles and everything. But it's not so much that he's hated by the fans. Like, he's genuinely disliked by people within the league too. But he just walks up. I guess when you make as much money as he does, I'd have a smile on my face everywhere I go as well. So
yeah, he's the beat up guy. Everybody loves to beat up the commissioner. But the thing about it is the commissioner works for the owners. And they're paying him a lot of money to do the things that he does,
and to be the punching bag for the league.
The punching bag, it's a totally difference from how the NBA is ran. Everybody loves Stern, not Adam Stern,
Adam Silver.
I'm sorry.
Stern was loved too. I was a big fan of it. I think the NBA has always had the best commissioners, at least throughout my lifetime.
Yeah, I always found that weird that commissioners in this sport are loved, and baseball and the NFL, they're hated, not just by the players, but by the fans too.
You're going live on Facebook. Reaction to the 2021 NFL draft. We're going to get to the Bengals here in just a moment. Justin Nickel on Facebook says, Mac Jones to the Patriots. Disappointed in the Bengals not taking Sewell, but hope that the latest draft picks will make some noise. We'll get into that coming up in a moment, Justin, as far as that's concerned. Chris Cunningham on Facebook says, love the additions to the Cleveland Browns, the draft and the free agency. Andrew Berry, it's boring being a Browns fan right now because, you know what I mean? Like, when you It's fun being a Bengals fan right now because everything that happens it's all hope. You're just hoping that, oh man, we feel like we're over the top. The Browns right now is Browns fans now know that their team is good. And it's just like you're adding, cherries to the ice cream sundaes, right? Like that's all it comes down to, a little whipped topping, maybe some sprinkles. That's what this draft was for Cleveland. And you took what was already one of the top rosters in the NFL coming into the draft and just made them that much more deeper. I love what the Browns did as well, Chris. I think they did a fantastic job, especially taking that defense and elevating it to the level of that offense. Cleveland, mock them all you want. They're going to be dangerous this season, that's for sure. Brian Staley on Facebook says, I was extremely impressed by the Browns draft. This coming from a Bears fan. Shout out to the Bears fans. You should feel pretty good right now. You went from a laughing stock in the NFL as far as quarterbacks concerned, not Andy Dalton, but just of how it's been handled. If there are football gods, they were looking out for the Bears that night because the Bears were able to move up and trade for Justin Fields, who dropped to them in that first round. Mike Nympher says Bengals are going to need that new punter. So there's that. That Bengals hate's coming from him, not me, but I can sign off on it. So there's that. Justin Nichols said, well, the Bengals signed Buckeyes punter, so there's that. Well, he might get a lot of time. He might get the punter for the Bengals might get more time. That Buckeye might get more time than Justin Fields to start this season. You never know. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, the Bengals and if you base everything on social media, Bengals fans felt pretty good about their draft. Did you? 457-9464, Facebook, The Justin Kinner Show, YouTube, ESPN Dayton. Subscribe, watch live, jump in the chat, listen, stream, and now watch. Let's have a chat about what the Bengals did in the draft. Everyone knows I was disappointed in the fact that they chose to go for the, for the glamour pick and going for Jamar Chase as opposed to doing what was actually needed for the team and going after the offensive line. But Kev, I was told you don't need to take Penei Sewell because there's so many first-round graded talents in the second round. Well, they didn't come away with any of those guys. So I'm not a big fan of what Cincinnati did, but you can't argue that they did add some key talent to some key positions. We'll talk about that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 72. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, a low near 63. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, also with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 74. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. Find out why 98% of their customers would recommend them to friends and family. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
Hi, my name is Brian Summers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland & Summers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland & Summers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle knows your time is valuable, and with the extension of the tax deadline to May 17th, they've extended their days and hours just for you. If you prefer to upload your files remotely, you can use their Taxes Go app safely and securely, or call today for an appointment. Remember, veterans, active military, first responders, and frontline workers receive 25% off their tax preparation. Arrowhead Tax Service, 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. Online at arrowheadtaxservice.com. Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Looking for a clean and safe venue for your new grad celebration? Check out our VIP suite at Polking Lane South. Set the mood for your event with a state-of-the-art VIP experience in our private 8 lanes VIP suite. Booking now for spring and summer events. Let the good times roll at Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kings Ridge Drive, Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue.
All hits all the time.
Let's go commercial free. Even though saying we're going commercial free is technically a commercial for this station. When I say commercial free, I mean no commercials from our sponsors. But saying that is still a commercial of sorts, just to be clear. Okay, now I'm confused. Let's go commercial free. Except for this message about how we're going commercial free.
Maybe commercials about going commercial free just need a Snickers. Snickers satisfies.
So, how can I promote my new curbside pickup service?
It's possible with Staples Connect.
I need custom floor decals that'll get noticed, not just walked on.
Also possible, Staples Connect can help your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. And now get 15% off signs, posters, and decals when you spend $75 or more. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Ends 5/29. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
These days, it's okay to do some things halfway, like wearing your pajama bottoms on a work call, but managing your prescriptions shouldn't be one of them. That's why CVS has a proprietary search tool to find ways that may help lower your prescription costs, and will deliver them for free. No wonder CVS customers are better than most at staying on prescriptions, which tends to make you healthier. Come in or call today and get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Delivery restrictions apply. Visit cvs.com for details.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough. And the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
It's time to thrive outside. Spending time outside, like at an Ohio State park, is a natural way to boost your mental health. Just 15 minutes in nature can restore you. The parks are for everyone to enjoy. Visit detourtrails.ohiodnr.gov to connect to a trail near you. Need more help? Call the Ohio Care Line at 1-800-720-9616 for free emotional support. Sponsored by the Ohio Departments of Natural Resources and Mental Health and Addiction Services. Aired by the OAB in this station.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug. Check it out, Limu, a roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Look, an emu wearing sunglasses.
Limu, you're famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, welcome back. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers and Orion Sports Medicine. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. The NFL draft is officially in the books, and if that means that we're done talking about the draft, well, you got nothing coming. Now we get to talk about not where we think everyone's going to go. Now we get to talk about where everybody went, and that'll last for about a day or two, and then it's Baseball, I guess.
Stickball.
Stickball. There we go.
The Reds game
broke
out to a football game the other day.
Yeah, and look, quietly, I still don't feel great about the Reds, but they just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. They took 2 or 3 from the Cubs. It's on a nice little stretch after that little 7-game losing streak. Castellanos has been a beast. But the Reds are off tonight, and they'll be back in action tomorrow. And we'll talk about that coming up in a bit. The critically acclaimed 30 for 30, We Just Can't Have Nice Things, featuring your Cincinnati Bengals, produced by yours truly. Check it out.
If the Cincinnati Bengals don't draft an offensive tackle, they should be disbanded and revoked from the NFL. They got to keep this guy upright and healthy. It was irresponsible what they did last year.
What if I told you that the Cincinnati Bengals learned nothing from Joe Burrow's season-ending injury in 2020?
Now Burrow, oh boy, clutching his left leg. Oh no.
With the number 5 pick overall and the best tackle available, the Bengals pick seems pretty obvious.
I don't think that there's even a question. When you have a shot at Penei Sewell, you take him and you keep your quarterback upright so that he doesn't get murdered every single Sunday.
But if Penei Sewell was sitting there, Joe Burrow's season ended because you couldn't protect him, and Joe was playing really well. To me, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. Protect your asset.
What if I told you that the Cincinnati Bengals failed Joe Burrow once again?
The Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase.
Oh, you've got to be f***ing kidding me. What a bunch of...
Hey, easy now. Easy. Voice guy, come on, stick to the script. Just read the script.
Oh, my bad. But seriously, what's wrong with them? Fix the O-line, man. Anyways, it's Justin Kinner's latest award-winning 30 for 30. This is why we just can't have nice things. The embarrassing and disappointing tale of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right, and there it is, my latest 30 for 30. I always enjoy doing those, and I'm always going to keep doing them, and I have a feeling that the Bengals are going to be at the center of a lot of those 30 for 30s as long as they keep making boneheaded decisions, which they did. And we have Jake Whiting hanging out in the chat section here, and right away he's jumping on this. So, yes, Pro Football Focus released a graphic, Kev, of the 4 most improved offensive lines in football, and somehow, some way, the Cincinnati Bengals made that list, coming in at number 4. The Chargers, the team that actually values their quarterback, coming in at number 1. The Kansas City Chiefs, who go out and get Orlando Brown, and they actually go get Joe Tooney, real names, names that are actually going to actually produce. And then they, again, continue to focus on building that up in the draft. I thought that the Kansas City Chiefs, as good as they are, had a better draft than some of these teams who were in position to improve themselves dramatically. I don't know if Cincinnati necessarily did that. When I look at their draft, the draft isn't terrible. I think that, there's 2 ways to grade this draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. If you're just looking at it as, okay, some of the talent that they overall, that they added overall, pretty good, pretty solid. Jamar Chase, I think, is going to be, one of the top wide receivers in all of football. No argument here. But when you look at it the other way of, using this draft to target need, what was interesting, Kev, is there was quite a few teams that had a lot of needs. And you could tell that the teams valued the needs that they had because they went all in. How about the Chargers, as we talked about? You look at free agency. They had Corey Linsley. They get Jared Cook. They get Rashawn Slater. They had Josh Palmer late in the 3rd round. Like, the Chargers went all in to make sure that their guy is taken care of, right? That's what the Chargers did. You look at what, the Kansas City Chiefs did. They knew that their offensive line took a hit, and you know what they did? They panicked, they freaked out, and they targeted it, and they made it better. They added Orlando Brown. They added Joe Tooney. They got Kyle Long to come out of, retirement and free agency. That was huge. They, they signed a center in Austin Blythe, or they get Austin Blythe in free agency, and then they draft Creed Humphrey, a guy that your Steelers should have taken, to be honest with you. So when the Chiefs need something, they go get it. They didn't say, well, we can improve here, here, and here. We go all in on the number 1 need that we have. They didn't try to spread it out, right? Like that, the Chiefs did a good job. How about the Jaguars? The Jaguars aren't a good football team. That's why they're picking number 1 overall. Urban Meyer and the front office for the Jags did a good job. They said, well, we're not going to try and sprinkle it out. We're not going to try to get, really good players on defense and offense, because there's no such thing as turning your whole team around and improving every hole on your roster in one draft. You can't even improve every hole on your roster in one free agency period. So you look what Urban Meyer did. He gets his quarterback. He gets his running back in Travis Etienne, which, you could debate whether that was a good pickup or not. Urban feels good about it. They get their tackle and Walker Little. That was in the second round as well. So Urban Meyer and the Jags went all in on offense. They added a lot of key pieces in free agency as well. You could tell the needs of a team based on how they attack it. And I think that a lot of these teams did a good job. How about the Panthers, Kev? They go out and get Sam Darnold. I like the J.C. Horn pick. They had to get that key defensive piece there, but they give Sam Darnold a wide receiver in the second round. They get a tackle in the third round. All right, they get a tight end in the third round. They get Chuba Hubbard, who could end up being the best running back in this entire draft in the fourth round. When these teams have needs, they go after it. And they made sure that they overload some of these needs. And then you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, who spent $160 million in the offseason, with the majority of that money all going to the defense. Very similar to last offseason, Kev, when the majority of the offense went to defense. Now you got to look at, okay, they spent a lot of money in free agency. They upgraded a couple defensive pieces. So now it's time to focus on the offensive line, because that's what I was told by even some of the weirdo Bengal fans themselves, that, well, someone needs to tell Kinner that there's more than one round in this NFL draft. Well, you're right. There's 7 rounds, and the Cincinnati Bengals wasted a lot of these picks. I was told that the Bengals were going to pass on Penei Sewell because in the second round, there was going to be a lot of first-round graded talent available. And they passed up on those guys. So the first pick, Jamar Chase. I lost that war. Whatever. Still think it was a mistake. I still think that, you guys are enjoying Jamar Chase now. You're going to buy his jersey. But if Joe Burrow's out for the season by week 5, I really hope you enjoy that jersey, because that's really what this is going to come down to. And then, Kev, they get to the second round. I'm hearing, Slater. I'm hearing all these names that the Bengals are going to be able to get in the second round. They don't come away with one big name offensive lineman in this entire draft, Kev. Not one big name. Okay. Now, in the second round, they take Jackson Carman, offensive tackle out of Clemson, a 4th round graded offensive lineman that the Bengals reached for in the second round, when I was told that there was nothing but first round talent in the second round when it came to the offensive line. I don't understand that reach. And if Jackson Carman was not relatively local, I don't think many Bengals fans would be as excited about this. But Mike Brown said he called a good former buddy of his that Willie Anderson's one that signed off on it, and I forgot the other guy too. I have to go look at it. I can't remember in the article I read. But Mike Brown's calling former offensive line. This is why you need a GM, because you don't need to be going around calling, well, my one friend, he was an offensive lineman. Let me call him and see what he thinks. If I'm Willie Anderson and these guys, I'm charging Mike Brown like some GM dollars, because I'm like, if you had a GM, you wouldn't have to be calling us, old man, because you would have this better in place. Kev, in the first 3 rounds, 23 offensive linemen were drafted. 23 in the first 3 rounds, Kev, and this is a draft that the Bengals needed offensive line. 23 offensive linemen, Kev, were drafted in the first 3 rounds of the draft. The Bengals drafted 1. And it was a 4th round graded offensive lineman in the second round. I just don't get it. I just listed all the teams that had all of these needs that they needed to address, and they went heavy. The Chargers went offensive heavy. The Cowboys went balls to the wall with loading up their defense, because that was their number one need. The Chiefs' offensive line, it was clearly exposed in the Super Bowl, and they go out and they overloaded. They overloaded that offensive line now, and it's easily the best offensive line in football. It's definitely surpassing the Browns, and I'm in love with the Browns' offensive line. Kev, how do you go wide receiver, tackle in the second round? Now, that sounds like you're addressing the need, but keep in mind, just because you are drafting the position that you need, it doesn't mean that you addressed it. I don't think Jackson Carman addresses anything. I don't think when you are in need of a desperate talent to bulk up that line, you can't take chances. They took a chance in the second round. Why? If you're going to take a chance on anything, take a chance on a receiver later than taking a chance on an offensive lineman. That's what I don't understand. And then, Kev, they take a kicker who's very good. I like the kicker that they got, okay? Very good kicker, Evan McPherson, the kicker out of Florida. But, Kevin, in the 5th round at that point, so after they drafted Jackson Carman in the second round, they had 4 picks in the 4th round. They didn't draft an offensive lineman again until the 4th round again later on, and Deontay Smith from East Carolina. So I just don't get it. They took defensive end, defensive tackle, freaking punter, or a kicker. Then they took another defensive end. They took 5 defensive ends in this draft. Everyone's like, well, they said they were going to address the line. Clearly, Mike Brown was confused on what line they were supposed to address. Kev, I don't get it. I know I'm a Bengals hater. If the Browns did this crap and they were in the same position as the Bengals, I would be saying the same thing about them. This isn't me spinning this just to make the Bengals look bad. They do a very good job of doing that all on their own without Kinner's help. How? Kev, you heard it. Now, you may not have agreed with everything I said, but even you were probably like sitting back saying, well, these Bengals fans are making a little sense. If they don't take Penei Sewell, there's going to be first-round talent in the second round. But they didn't come away with any of those. And do Bengals fans apologize for being stupid to Kinner? No. I haven't heard Jake Whiting apologize or any of the Bengals fans say, hey, we're sorry for making those stupid comments about there being multiple rounds in the draft. We shouldn't have been so dumb in thinking that the Bengals were going to take first-round talent in the second round. We're sorry for being dumb. No, the Bengals fans keep moving the goal. They keep moving the goalposts. They keep moving it as we go. When free agency started, Joe Tooney, baby. Kevin Zeitler, Joe Tooney, baby. Then both of those go off the board. Well, we don't need them. We don't need it. We got to fix that defense. We have the draft to fix that offensive line. Then the draft gets here. Oh, no, we don't need Penei Sewell. We need Jamar Chase, baby. We need Jamar Chase. Then the goalpost moves again. We don't need Penei Sewell because we got the second round. Look at all those Slater, all these potential first-round caliber players. What do? They take Jackson Carman. I don't get it. And he could end up being really good. But when you have the second round to take first round caliber talent, you don't take a chance on the guy that had a fourth round grade. I don't understand. It was a reach, and the Bengals, they're not good enough. They're not good enough in the front office to reach on anything. I couldn't believe it. I was laughing so hard. If you want to know why I watched the draft, it's because I was really laughing. It was between that and Comedy Central. I watched a little Jim Jeffries over the weekend, and he made me laugh about as much as the Bengals did. I mean, that's what kind of weekend I had.
For me, I think the more alarming thing about the Cincinnati situation is they had the 5th pick in the second round, and they chose to trade back even further. And then the picks that they end up using, like you just talked about, they got 5 defensive ends. Breaking news, you only have 53 people that are going to make the roster. You're not going to carry 5 defensive ends on your team. You can carry 5 linebackers, though. You can carry multiple offensive linemen. So when you have an issue on your team, which is the offensive line, the easiest thing you can do is just throw bodies at the problem. And they didn't do that, even if they traded back. Like if they just chose to just start taking offensive linemen by the handful with those other picks, I could have defended it. But you can't defend this when you trade back, when you could have got a first round talent in Tevin Jenkins. He went to the Chicago Bears. What did the Chicago Bears do in the first round? They drafted a quarterback. So they got an offensive lineman to protect their quarterback. What did the Dolphins do? They drafted another high caliber offensive lineman, a second round grade. He went exactly where he wanted to go, where he was supposed to go, Eckenberg, the tackle from Notre Dame from my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. So now he's going down to Miami to protect a young quarterback. So you look at these young quarterbacks getting high quality talent to protect them. So you look at that, and then you go to the Cincinnati Bengals going with Jackson Carman. And we know the name because, you know, obviously he's from Ohio. He's from Fairfield, you know, halfway between here and Cincinnati and everything like that. He was supposed to be a Buckeye, chose to go to Clemson, yada, all that type of stuff. But I'm with you. If we didn't know that name because he's a local product or anything like that, I think people will be a little more open arms because people are going to go to the game when they played Ohio State and they're going to pull up that tape because that's the real tape that really matters, you know, where he was blocking Chase Young. Now, Chase Young didn't have a sack in that game. I can say Jackson Carman did a right job. He did better than a lot of other people did, but he's going to have to do that night in and night out in the NFL. So good luck to the young man. I just think that the Bengals did themselves a disservice, not only by trading back, but when you did trade back to get more picks, you didn't throw more bodies at the issue. You only threw 2 bodies at your problem. You only drafted 2 offensive linemen. So that's a bigger issue for me. We talked about this on Friday where I said if the Cincinnati Bengals come away with one of Tevin Jenkins, Liam Eckenberg, or Jalen Mayfield from Michigan, I would have no problem with their draft. I would say they did a bang-up job. They were able to grab the best receiver in the draft and a high-quality starter at tackle in the draft as well. Now, Jackson Carman probably is going to end up starting for the Cincinnati Bengals. Is he high quality? He all right. And he all right. You know,
I'll accept for fourth or third round, but for second round when there was first round caliber guys there. And I know Slater wasn't available. I'm just throwing out names, but you didn't
Jenkins was projected to go at the back end of the first round. Eckenberg was projected to go very high in the second round, which he did. Jalen Mayfield was also projected to go high. So you chose to go with Jackson Carman over Jalen Mayfield, who going into the last college football season was projected to go in the first round. I've never seen Jackson Carman projected to go anywhere higher than round 3 in this whole draft process. Now, hey, man, I'm relying on what they're telling me. You know what I'm saying? I'm relying on what ESPN is saying, what the NFL Network is saying. Hey, for me personally, I look at like, all right, where does the consensus say? The consensus says that Jackson Carman was a third, fourth round pick. That's what the consensus says. And then when you look at the NFL draft, you look at like, all right, do you get a guy that everybody believes is where they're supposed to get drafted? And everybody believed they drafted him at least a round too high. So if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you got to be thinking to yourself, we have an issue at the offensive line and we drafted a guy around early. Okay, so we traded back. So obviously we picked up a ton of other offensive linemen just to throw bodies at the problem. And they chose not to do that either. So I think that is an issue as well. Not just the fact that they didn't take the guys that were sitting right there because they had the 5th pick. They could have picked any of them. But they chose not to. And those picks that they didn't make, they went to other teams with young quarterbacks. That is quite alarming if I'm a Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, especially when you look at what the Chargers did. Look what the Chargers did. Look what the Chiefs, who, like you could tell the teams that actually know what they're doing and value their quarterback because, I mean, the Chiefs could have said, well, we can get offensive linemen later in the draft. Let's just load up Patrick Mahomes with more weapons, right? But no, they are a mature organization that knows how to draft, that knows how to evaluate, draft picks and free agents. They know how to win. They win, get to the Super Bowl 2 straight years. The Chiefs, like if you are a Bengals fan defending what your organization did and are trying to tell me that I'm wrong for pointing at what the Chiefs have done, you're the fools in this conversation. I don't even care. Like I've taken so much abuse this week from these loser Bengal fans that I can care less. I couldn't care less what they think of me at this point because the bottom line is I was told all week that they didn't need to take Sewell because there's plenty of offensive line talent in the second round, and they took a 4th rounded graded guy in the second round when there was other better offensive linemen available. And the Bengals fans, it would be one thing if you guys were right. Like if all last week you told me there's more than one round of the draft, they're going to take Jamar Chase in the first round, and then the second round they'll get one of the higher graded offensive linemen. Nope. I mean, like that's a huge reach in the second round. That is a huge reach in the second round as far as that goes. And then Nick Focht on Facebook, he says,
what was Nick's name?
I think it's Focht or Focht. I'm not really sure. It's Focht. What else would it be?
Dump button. That's what it is.
How would you? That's what
I thought you said something else.
Well, I mean, nope, I can't because it sounds too close. So I'm just gonna. Nick says. Mr. F, he says, name a premium pass rusher that Sewell faced. Carman at least handled Chase Young. Nick, I like you, but that's the stupidest comment I've ever heard you say, and you are smarter than that. You've called into the show multiple times. I know you are not as dumb as what you just came across with that comment, because if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line, they have 2 guys on there that are from Division II schools. So please, don't waste my time, your friend's time, your wife's time, or anyone else's time with that nonsense again. Don't ever utter that line again, because it's not the first. I've seen you tweet it at me before, and I didn't respond because it was my sides hurt from laughing, and I had a cramp, and it was just I couldn't get to it. Really, Nick? What do you say to that? You're going to be way nicer than me, but I'm just tired of the foolishness that the fans, like, I don't know what's wrong with the fans just saying, yeah, I'm a Bengals fan. I don't think they did a good job. But these guys, they could have drafted like 10 punters. They had 10 draft picks. They could have drafted 10 punters, and these fools would be like, well, we're going to have the best punting team in the NFL. That's Bengals fans. Oh, my gosh. You guys are unbelievable today.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand why Penny Swell is the guy that people are choosing to just totally discredit.
His name is Focht, by the way.
Okay.
I like the other word better.
I don't understand how like people are saying like, oh, he didn't play it against competition because he played in the Pac-12 and everything like that. Look, man, playing the offensive line position is more than just who you play against. It's more than just being a road grader. It's more than being just bigger than everybody else. You have to have great footwork. You have to also be very smart because sometimes the offensive linemen are responsible for picking up corner blitzes and all the ton of other football stuff that we don't see as regular fans. So for me, the Jackson Carman thing, he was all right. Like, but he wasn't great. You know, what I loved him on the Buckeyes, absolutely. I mean, more talent the merrier. But like, he wasn't Orlando Pace. He wasn't projected to be Orlando Pace. But guess who was? The guy that y'all passed up on. He's projected to be Anthony Munoz. He's projected to be something great. And I don't understand why people are trying to discredit him to big up the guy that they did draft. Two things can be true at the same time. Sewell can be great, and you can also like Jackson Carman. So if you want to defend Jackson Carman and say like, man, he handled Chase Young and everything like that, okay, there is tape out there that shows Jackson Carman holding his own against one of the best pass rushers we've ever seen. No doubt about it. I can't deny that. But there's also tape of him getting bull rushed and him Chase Young being centimeters away from a strip sack in that game as well. So, and we can also go back to this game this year. We could talk about the Chase Young situation, but we can talk about how Tariq Smith handed him the business. A less talented player than Chase Young and Tariq Smith from Ohio State handed Jackson Carman the business in the more recent game. So we can say, oh, man, he's good. Look at this. We can also say, well, he got handed the business by a less talented player from a guy, and Tariq Smith from my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, also went to my high school, by the way. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Absolutely. So Tariq Smith isn't projected to be a top 3 pick in the NFL. Tariq Smith is projected to be a top 3 round pick in the NFL. So, and he handed Jackson Carman the business. 2 sacks against him. And it wasn't any blitz because, you know, Ohio State doesn't blitz. It was all him.
All the right linebackers are theirs. They don't blitz. Sorry, I threw you.
OH. It's always OH. But yeah, I mean, we can go look at that game and see him get spun around like a top. So we can play that game if you want to. I'm just not, man. I'm going to go with the guy that was higher rated and the team that you needed more help on, which is the offensive line.
All right. Facebook feed right here. We're going to so the phone lines, we're loading those up. It's going to be all callers after this segment right here. But keep in mind, Jake Whiting talking about the Chiefs. He goes, it's easy for them to get top tier talent. They are championship contenders right now. I'm going to stop you right there, Jake. You got to understand, you do know that Joe Thuney wanted to be a Cincinnati Bengal, and that the asking price, so you talk about championship contenders. You know why they're championship contenders? Because they draft good players and they sign good free agents. And you know why they sign good free agents? Because they're willing to pay. Joe Thuney was willing to go to Cincinnati. They wouldn't pay him. That article came out. They wouldn't pay him. I don't know how you have $40 million in cap space. You have a quarterback that just had his leg snapped in 2 because you were too cheap to put an offensive line in front of him last year. You had the money to do it this year, and instead you go crazy on the defensive side, which you could have addressed later. So no, Jake, you are so wrong. It's not even funny. You and Nick are in like this boat of let's try to outwrong one another today. So no, the Bengals, who are not a Super Bowl contender, had a chance to sign Joe Thuney before the Chiefs, but the Bengals and Mike Brown are losers, and they couldn't. It's not that they couldn't afford to; they chose not to. And then Jake goes on to say, same reason the Browns have to overpay people. It's easy to look at the Chiefs. Actually, the Cleveland Browns signed a lot of guys. A lot of guys took less money to come play for Cleveland. I know that it's painful for you Bengals fans to understand. The problem is the Bengals and Browns were running a race, and they were fairly even. The Bengals would pull ahead for a little bit. The Browns would catch up. The Bengals would pull away. Well, now the Browns have lapped the Bengals. The Browns have lapped the Bengals, and that's why there's so much hostility from the goofy Bengals fans when it comes to this. Troy Hill took less money. In his press conference said, I was offered way more money from other teams. I chose to take less money to come play for Cleveland, where I feel they are onto something special here and feels they could win a Super Bowl. So spare me they're only going to the Chiefs because they're good. That's not true. They're even willing to go to bad teams like yours, but you're too cheap. I'm just saying. phone calls. I'm tired of ranting. I had no intentions of doing this, but I'm seeing all the blood pressure pills. You see what you've started? The little pill emojis are filling up the chat board. And shout out to Billy Wright. Billy Wright, I apologize. I should not. He is a Bengals fan, and I threw him in the mix. Not all Bengals fans are like that. Billy, I'm sorry. I'm going to take you out of the mix. We'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is also the home for value. Frickers Everyday Value begins on Monday with boneless frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. Tuesday offers traditional frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. On Wednesday, enjoy a steak dinner for $6.99. And Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks for $6.99. Download the Frickers mobile app to receive loyalty points, free food, and order online. Today and every day, the home for everyday values is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Hi, my name is Brian Summers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland & Summers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland & Summers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
Hello? Hello, Mrs. Kuntz. It's the back left tire of your RV calling. Wanted to give you a heads up that I'm going to blow out on the highway later today.
Wait, what?
Says here I'm going to burst in the middle of rush hour.
Well, can we reschedule?
Sorry, our policy states that once we're scheduled to burst, we have to. We really pride ourselves on our commitment to blowouts.
RV owners can't schedule when things go wrong on the road. That's why there's Progressive, a leader in RV insurance.
Do you want a text confirmation when I burst?
Think I'll notice.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
When the doctor told us about my mom's cancer, it made me feel so helpless until I called the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and spoke with Grace, who answered all of my questions about the disease, treatment options, and cancer-related expenses. Her support and compassion made us feel whole again. Today, I'm calling Grace to let her know my mom is beating cancer. To learn more, visit lls.org.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Changing your oil. We've got what you need. Regular changes are the best way to keep your engine running smooth. We'll help you find the right oil for your make and model and everything to help you finish the job right, like drain pans, filters, and funnels. And we've got more ways to get it all fast, like our next day delivery and our free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Run with us on a John Deere Z365 RZ Track mower, built for taking it easy. We're talking lemonade on a lazy afternoon easy. That's why we added the Easy Change 30-second oil change system to make the job nice and simple. And with the convenience of standard mulch control, you'll control your clippings without any extra effort. So you can get back to the good stuff, because lawns aren't just for mowing, they're for living. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere Z300 for more.
Hi, Pete Kasuji here to tell you it's time to start thinking green. Get out those shovels and rakes and take advantage of every sunny day this month so you don't have to play catch up next month. Get started on that landscape project you've been thinking about all winter. Plant a tree or a hedge, a flowering shrub, or maybe a few evergreens and ornamental grass around the porch or deck. It's also time to sow our famous green mat grass seed for a lush green lawn this summer. Sow that grass seed now and you'll be mowing by the middle of May. We've got everything you need for a great-looking yard or patio at our 6-acre garden center at 1309 Brant Pike. Come out and see why they call them greenhouses.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Audible Plus is everything you want to hear. Listen all you want to thousands of select originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash. Are we on?
We are on.
I don't hear myself in my headset. I'm sure people would love for me not to be able to hear me right now. All right, we're back. 457-9464. That's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. Jake Whiting says, Kinner, bro, you know I love you, but you're way off on this, my guy. I'm not. Your number one need was offensive line. You reached in the second round on a guy when there was first round caliber talent there. I was willing to forgive the Jamar Chase thing if they actually went out. I mean, look, sorry. At one point, one offensive lineman that they drafted, and they had one offensive lineman and one kicker in their draft, like 5 or 6 picks in. You had 10 picks. You drafted 3 offensive linemen. I just went through with the Chiefs and everybody else, like their needs. They drafted almost every draft pick was their number one need. The Bengals are spreading it out. It just doesn't make any sense. Right now, Nora and I were in the midst of buying a house. Mm-hmm. And over the weekend, we're shopping around, and I was like, man, I really like this washer and dryer. So we're going to get this new washer and dryer. We want to put up a privacy fence. So I was starting to look into getting all the materials we needed for the privacy fence. And Nora's like, would you stop spending money? We don't need to spend that money right now. We don't even have a house yet. Why are you trying to buy washer and dryer for a house we don't even have yet? Why are you trying to buy supplies for a privacy fence for a yard that we don't even have yet? And I said, Nora, you're right. My bad. I didn't think. I said, my fault. I'm so stupid. You're right. Why would I want to buy new furniture and a washer and dryer and a privacy fence when we haven't even bought a house yet? That doesn't make any sense. How stupid am I? I'm a Bengals fan. That's how I felt. Now, Nora and I are not in the midst of buying a house, and I was not looking at anything like that, but I just needed to set up the Bengals fans are stupid thing. So that's what I went with. But it's the same concept. You don't need to buy and invest in other positions until you actually have your base, and your base is your offensive line. I don't care. Pro Football Focus, whatever. They can kick rocks because 2 years ago, they also said, well, the Cincinnati Bengals have one of the highest graded offensive lines heading into the offseason. That's after Andy Dalton got sacked over 40 plus times. So yeah, and excuse me, Pro Football Focus out of Cincinnati. Yeah, it's a little skewed towards Cincinnati every single time. The bottom line is I watch football, sometimes the same games that they're watching, and yet I don't understand how what they watch is good and what I watch is a train wreck like everyone else. Enough of what I said. I'm being mean today. 457-9464. Justin Nichols said, good point, Justin. I know. Do you like my made up little analogy? Nor didn't yell at me. I didn't yell at her. We didn't get no furniture for a house we haven't bought yet. But you see the point. You wouldn't go buy new furniture and washer and dryer and a privacy fence and all that stuff for your new house if you don't have a house yet. So why would you go and invest all these draft picks, this draft capital, and $250 million in the last 2 free agents in the last 2 off seasons combined? Why would you do that unless your base is taken care of? That's why the Chargers are smart. That's why all these other the Chiefs are smart. And then there's the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to take a kicker in the 5th round. We're going to take 5 defensive tackles after just spending a ton of money on Hendrickson and everybody else. But yeah, really? And I'm the weirdo here. I'm the one that doesn't make any sense. I don't care. It is what it is. All right. 457-9464. Kev, who's on deck?
We got Mark.
Mark. How are you, Mark? Welcome in. Kick us off.
Thanks, brother. It's been a few months since I called in, and
oh, Mark, how are you? It depends. I don't know how this call is going to go. Am I a dummy or am I really smart? How is this going?
Well, like I told King Kevin right there, I'm going to agree with you, and here's why.
Nice.
not only do they put the cart before the horse so bad in this draft.
Thank you.
Okay, if you get a great offensive line, you can make average to slightly above average receivers and running backs look like O.J. Simpson and Calvin Johnson. So they should have loaded up on the offensive line. The kid was a reach that they got from Clemson, and there's Penny Sewell. If you look at the bio on the kid from Clemson, short arms, and he's kind of chubby. These defensive linemen are going to be going around this guy like he's not even there. And I know you're going to want to cut in, but I'm going to say this. If you want to replace Fat Randy, you hold an open tryout for 25 kickers and say, who wants to kick? Come on in. You don't waste a draft choice on a kicker. And then the Michigan running back was a horrible reach, even though it's a late round. I like the kid from Texas. What is it, OHSAA or whatever? Whatever.
He's a good pickup. Yes, I agree.
He was a great pickup. Other than that, no. And Jamar Chase, as great as he is, you draft linemen and you don't take Chase. And next year, if your record sucks, you're looking right up the road to Columbus. You got Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, who are probably going to be easily first-round wide receivers that you could have got next year. You can't throw to people when you're on your ass. And you can't throw to people when you're running for your life. It's not going to take long before these receivers are like, here we go again. But I do think the one guy that got screwed out of this whole thing is Joe Mixon. He's a great running back, and he is going to be frustrated again when he's grinding out 3 yards a run. So I agree with you, man.
Lately I'm nervous when I take the calls because I'm like, I know I've ruffled feathers, but you know what? I feel like there's more people that agree with me than disagree, but the people that disagree with me are louder than the people that agree. And then here's what I'm dealing with, Mark. Help me out on this. Now, Jake Whiting, I'm beating up on him today. I really do like Jake. He's a good dude. I've never met him, but on social media, he's really cool.
Yeah.
But he goes, 10 guys. He goes 10 guys because I talked about the 10 picks and they only drafted 3 offensive linemen and 2 of them came in the very later rounds. He goes 10 guys going to start on the line. We need to improve the defense also. It's called prioritizing your needs, and you don't have you're going to start all 5 of those defensive tackles you drafted. And so Jake, come on, you got to make sense. If you're going to come at me, make sense, my friend.
He's only partially right. You need to bolster both sides of the line of scrimmage, but do it balance-wise. Give me 5 and 5 or give me 4 and 6, but kickers and late-round running backs, they don't make any sense. And then we end up signing, as much as I love Buckeyes, we signed Drew Chrisman, punter, as a free agent when you got Kevin Huber. You go out and look for a free agent offensive lineman, not a punter, to replace an all-pro punter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I need a cocktail.
I mean, you're agreeing with me an awful lot. This is the most cordial conversation we've ever had. I kind of like this new Mark.
And I'm going to leave you with this. Aaron Rodgers was just traded to the Cleveland Browns for Baker Mayfield, 1-for-1. Would you take that trade, buddy?
In a heartbeat. I wouldn't be disappointed at all. I like Baker, but I'm not delusional. Now, if I was a Bengals fan, I said if you were going to trade Joe Burrow for Aaron Rodgers up front, they'd be like, oh, no, Joe Burrow's way better than Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I listen to ESPN overnight radio because I got to be at work at 5 a.m. at Tip Stadium. I listened to ESPN last night, and they said the best fit if Aaron Rodgers is going to go is the Cleveland Browns.
You know what? In last year, and see, this proves I'm not as much a homer as everyone thinks. Last year, as much as I love Baker Mayfield, I was pushing for the Browns. If Baker Mayfield, he went like a stretch of 3 games where he didn't even like pass for more than 200 yards. And I said, if there's talks of the Falcons looking to move on from Matt Ryan, I'm like, if you put Matt Ryan behind that offensive line with that run game with those receivers, look out. So I'm not delusional. I'm very well aware that I think they could win with Baker, but I'm not dumb to think that, hey, if you put Aaron Rodgers with that roster, it would be a toss-up between the Chiefs and the Browns at that point.
Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and didn't have nearly the talent that Cleveland's got on the offensive side of the football. Aaron Rodgers sitting there looking at your great running backs, your great tight end, and your great wide receivers. If I went out of Green Bay, I'd be going to Cleveland. And you guys bolstered up the defense big time with the linebacker from Notre Dame and the safety. Browns did really good. Bengals had the right idea. They just reached, and then it got stupid with the kicker and the bad running back from Michigan.
All right. Hey, Mark.
Penny Sewell should have been the choice.
Absolutely. Hey, good hearing from you, Mark. Take care. All right. Kinner's 1 for 1 so far. Is Kinner going to go 2 for 2? By the way, they're nitpicking here. Brian Hetzel was like the king. He was the face of the weird fans that were messaging me saying, did you know there's more than one round of the draft? As if that, taking offensive linemen later in the draft is the key to protecting your quarterback. Not saying you can't find one late, but you can't afford to take chances. The highest percent chance. This is why when you tank so you can get a lot, so you can get the highest pick in the draft. You don't tank to build up a big old list of 3rd and 4th and 5th round picks, and then you use a 5th round pick to draft a kicker. I just said, even the ESPN guys were laughing. I was like, oh, this is embarrassing. Even I was embarrassed for Cincinnati. I was like, holy smokes. So now he's being technical. We got 3 O linemen, 1 defensive tackle, and 3 defensive ends. Get it right. The point is defensive tackle doesn't block for Joe Burrow. The 3 defensive ends, which were stupidly drafted, don't block for Joe Burrow. Those 4 draft picks should have all been 4 offensive linemen, because I'm pretty sure all 4 of those defensive players you just drafted aren't all going to start and aren't all going to play. So if you overload a bunch of offensive linemen, the chances of one of them sticking are pretty good, right? But don't pick one in the second, a 4th round caliber pick in the 2nd round, and then you draft all defense for a while and a kicker, and then you pick up a couple offensive linemen in the way later rounds. That's not how you do it, pal. And that's coming from a fan of a team who has a real offensive line. So you might want to listen to me. I kind of know what I'm talking about. I've watched a team go from 0-16 to one of the best teams in football because they do it right, as crazy as that sounds. And you're trying to tell me that your team did it? I feel bad for you guys. I feel bad. Kinner's 1 for 1 with the callers. Kev, is he going to go 2 for 2? Well, who we have?
I doubt it. James is up.
James, how are you, my friend? Welcome in.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Hey.
Good.
So on the Panay Sewell, no pick. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, we should have done that for sure." He's a guaranteed thing. And I'm a Bengals fan. I remember we need help at defensive tackle. All right, let's pick the surefire thing. Can't go wrong. Big Daddy Wilkinson. Oh, shoot. He was actually getting pan out. But everyone said he's a sure thing. And even running back. Hey, we need running back. Let's draft a surefire thing. Archie Griffin. Oh, that didn't really turn out either. So I'm never good with the argument of, you take the sure thing because, yes, he may be good, but maybe also not good. Same thing with Chase. Reasonably, you would think his history and track record and playing a similar office as LSU that there's some built-in intangibles, but you just never know, what you got until you got it.
Oh, absolutely. Look, and you don't know, and that's my whole point about if you have 10 picks in the 10, or that you have 10 picks in the 7 rounds, and history tells you, common sense tells you that the picks later in the draft are less likely to pan out. Not saying it's impossible. These guys in the late rounds could pan out, but the chances of that happening are slim, especially from an organization that is known for picking guys in the 1st round that don't pan out. So if you can't even get the 1st and 2nd round picks right, why should I trust that the Bengals are magically just going to be these 5th, 6th, and 7th round gurus that know how to identify talent? Mike Brown reaching in the 2nd round is just unbelievable to me. And for a team like that, for the Chiefs to do what they did and the Chargers to do what they did, and you look around, I just can't believe Bengals fans are defending their team. So, Mark, are you agreeing with me that they had a bad draft?
You mean James?
James, what did I say?
Oh yeah,
Mark?
no, yeah, but I'm not saying they had a bad draft. I don't think
you got to. That's the rules of the show, my friend. You got to either say yes or no.
Okay, I'm sorry. I will say they did not have a bad draft. But let me ask you.
No. Hold up. They did not. They had a good draft or a bad draft?
I'm going to break the rules and say it's a medium draft. I love this pick of Chase. I think that's a great pick.
It's a great pick if you have an offensive line.
Texas. I love the Texas pick.
I think a good pickup. Look, there's two different things here. The 2 things could be true. They picked up some decent players, but they failed Joe Burrow. Both can be true. And protecting Joe Burrow is the number 1 priority. And don't tell me he needs a wide receiver, because he did not need a wide receiver. He threw for 300-plus yards a game last year. It's not like receiver was a desperate need.
I'm with you. I agree with that statement. So let me ask you 2 questions. Number 1.
You get 1. If the first one's good, you'll get the second.
Okay. The first one's good. I'll change the order. Do you think the Bengals picked Carmen because he's a local guy?
Probably. Probably. That's actually, I'll give you that. That's a good question. That's a good, and Kev, right? If he wasn't local, would they have drafted him?
I pray to goodness they didn't do that. You know how I feel about that type of stuff. If you out here drafting guys because they're quote unquote locals, you're dumb. Like, plain and simple, dude. You draft the best guy for the position. Like, just because LeBron James happens to be from Akron, Ohio, and he got drafted by the Cavs, that don't mean everybody that's from your quote-unquote hometown is going to work out for you. Like, draft the best player for the position in need. And that player at the time for the Cincinnati Bengals in the second round, because I'm over the whole, Penny Sewell and Chase argument. That's over and done with. But they had an opportunity to go ahead and get Tevin Jenkins. They had an opportunity to get Jalen Mayfield. They had an opportunity to get Liam Eckenberg. And they chose not to. They chose to trade down and get a guy that's aight. But those other dudes are projected to be quality starters in this league. For me, the people that keep saying, who did Penny Sewell go up against? Well, I'll tell you who he went up against every single day in practice. Kevin Thibodeau, who's going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft next year.
Get him.
So Chase Young, one game versus Thibodeau every single day in practice. I'll take the other guy.
That's such a lazy argument, too. Trey Lance. Well, who did he face? He went number 3. The Niners unloaded a ton of draft capital to move up to get a guy that, well, who did he play against? And he's probably going to pan out. James, hey, you asked a good question, so I'm going to live up to my end. You get the second question. What you got?
What do you think Joe Burrow would say about the selection of Chase over Sewell?
Oh, apparently Joe Burrow loves it. Joe Burrow's going to love it until week 7 when he is done for the season. He gets the early vacation because that's what happened last year. Again, Chase and him are going to do great things together, but it's not the point. It's not as if this was the only wide receiver that you can get. There was a ton of really good receivers that they could have gotten later, but they would rather have Jamar Chase in spite of a better offensive line. I don't understand it. But James, you did good. Thank you for the questions, man. You take care.
Thank you, guys.
Later.
All right. So Kinner has one caller on his side. James was in the middle, but I'm going to just say James is a straight no. I'm going to keep this easy. Yes and no. So, I think the Bengals technically had a bad draft because the only way you can have a good draft is if your number one need was met. And Kev, this is what people aren't understanding. Brian goes on to say, we only had 2 defensive ends at the start of the draft, defending them taking 5 or 6 defensive players compared to the 3. You took double the amount. You just spent $150 million in the offseason on your defense. So if you spent that much on your defense, how is that your number one need heading into the draft? I was under the impression that the reason that they spent all of their free agent money in free agency, obviously on the defensive side, is because this was such a deep drafted offensive lineman that they were going to load up on offensive linemen in the draft. But Kev, when you struck out in free agency and you struck out in the draft, I don't get how that's, you made a good point earlier. I really thought I was going to come in here today and have been proven wrong to the point to where it was they really were going to load up on like Eichenberg from Notre Dame and those guys. I thought they were going to end up with a few of those guys, and then I was going to have to eat crow. The fact that I'm here on a Monday and they didn't end up with any of those guys, right, and everyone kept saying they don't need Sewell because they're going to have Eichenberg, they're going to have all these other guys they could pick from, and you don't come away with one of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. They had the opportunity to get Eckenberg, Mayfield, or Tevin Jenkins. And think about it like this. If they didn't trade back, they could have got Jackson Carman in the 3rd or 4th round. So you could have had both of them. And then we could have been on here like, well, you know what? Hey, you got Chase Young and you got a first-round caliber guy and Jenkins in the 2nd round. And then you went ahead and grabbed Jackson Carman too. Like,
they got a kicker.
They would have been like, it would have been nothing anybody could have said. It was like, look, man, these guys are young talent at the offensive line. And then you got a swing player, Jackson Carman, who could play either tackle position and guard position. Everybody would have been in love with that. But they chose to trade back and get a whole bunch of defensive tackles and ends and everything like that. I mean, I understand those positions are needed as well. But the position in most need, not just because of numbers, but in play, the production on the field, everybody knows that was the worst position on the field. That might have been the worst position in all NFL football last year, because the easy thing to look at is how many times Joe Burrow got hit and sacked and all that type of stuff. And you and I disagree a little bit on his injury. I mean, most quarterback injuries happen in the pocket. Like, we can't blame every injury that happens to a quarterback that gets sacked. Like, well, it's the offensive lineman fault. We differ on that a little bit, but there's no doubt about it that he was getting hit a ton. There's no question he's getting hit a ton. But the other part of it is the run game was suspect. 3 yards a carry. 3 yards a carry. 3 yards a carry. It's dudes in this league that average 6 yards a carry, and you're getting half of that. That's unacceptable. So you got to look at it from the whole perspective. And I know it's high flying offense and everything like that. You love to drop back. And this is Tecmo Bowl and Madden and everything like that. Everybody loves to chuck the ball around. But at the end of the day, the game of football, especially at the NFL level, is won at the line of scrimmage. Plain and simple, man. I know people hate it. It's nobody cares about that. Nobody buys a number 56 jersey. Hey, if it's not for the big uglies, you're not getting it done. Period.
I don't get it, man. And so Brian goes on to say, too, keep in mind about like the Chiefs. I pointed out all those teams who had big holes on their roster and they went all in to fit. They had a lot of holes on their roster, not so much the Chiefs, but like the Chargers and others, but they went all in. The Chargers, they kicked ass. That's why Justin Herbert will be the better quarterback long term than Joe Burrow, because the organization values him more. It's not so much like I think the Bengals value Joe Burrow. I'm not dumb. I know that they love Joe Burrow, but it's also called common sense with how to protect Joe Burrow, and this ain't it. Justin Herbert is in a better situation with the Chargers than what Joe Burrow is with the Cincinnati Bengals. So Brian Hetzel says those teams all had less holes. There's a reason we were drafting 5th. And I get that, but I need you to, Brian, open your ears. I need you to do your best. I need you to do your absolute best job at paying attention, if it is possible. Of course, you have a lot of holes. You got to prioritize the holes. Was taking care of the defense at the expense of protecting your franchise quarterback worth it? Is taking a punter or a kicker in the 5th round worth it? If Joe Burrow's out by week 7?
To be fair, in those fifth and sixth rounds, you're not getting a quality player there, a projected quality player there. So them drafting a punter,
2 of their 3 offensive linemen came in those later rounds.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why you should take them higher in the draft. So I really don't care that they drafted a punter there, because all right, man, well, what you gonna get? Me and you blocking out there might as well be. So when you had the opportunity to fix the offensive line higher in the draft, you should have done so. But obviously the Cincinnati Bengals know better than us.
I have one more question before we go back to the phones. Jake Whiting says, I told you Eichenberg can't move. Oh, okay. Okay, Jake. Okay. He says Eichenberg can't move. And only plays on positive. Mayfield wasn't good. And even Jake, these were all the names that you and Brian and all you other weirdo Bengals fans, these were all of the names that you guys were tweeting to me and Facebooking to me and calling into the show saying they don't need Sewell because there's a laundry list of names. Jake, you can't defend a team that didn't get one name on the laundry list of names that you were sending to me. How can you defend that? Like, you can't tell me that they didn't need Sewell because there was first-round talent to take in the 2nd, and then Mike Brown takes a 4th-round graded guy with the 2nd pick and passes up on these guys. Jake, what happened to those names? You kept going at me, telling me I didn't know what I was talking about, that there was so much talent at offensive line in the later rounds. They didn't come away with any of those top names. They didn't come away with one top name. So I just don't get it. And when they're getting graded as most improved, it's easy. Like, Kev, it's easy to get most improved when you were as bad as what they were last year. Like, their most improved is still the 4th worst offensive line, and that includes the Steelers.
What was the statement about Eichenberg?
He said Eichenberg can't move.
Well, he was the anchor of a team that made it to the college football playoff, and they ran the bleep out the ball. And you also got to think about this. Outside of Alabama and Ohio State, Notre Dame has the 2nd most amount of NFL offensive linemen. So he's getting coached well at his college. He produced in college. So, I mean, if you just go off of that, because let's be real, none of us are looking at offensive lineman film and figure, oh man, look at his feet, look how he moves.
I don't like how he moves. Like, what does that even mean?
So that type of stuff we can go off of. Those are the things we can go off of. So, okay, he doesn't like Eichenberg. What about Tevin Jenkins? He was projected to go in the 1st round. Why didn't you take him? Jalen Mayfield. Oh, man, he had a bad season. Michigan had a bad season. Michigan didn't play half of their games. Half of the 8 that the Big Ten played. So is that a fair assessment? Let's go look at Jalen Mayfield's film the year before when they played an entire season. So you miss me with that type of stuff. Look, man, Jackson Carman's cool. That's fine. You decided to roll on the guy from your hometown. Okay, that's cool. Block TJ Watt, see how that works out. Block Myles Garrett, see how that works out. Try to block one of the million maniacs they got on the Ravens defense. See how that works out for you. Look, man, that's y'all team. That ain't my team.
All right, let's go back to the phones before we take a breather. Kev, 457-9464. Real quick, I got to read this one. Charles Mitchell, he says, Justin, Paul Alexander and Willie Anderson signed off on Jackson Carman. This is why you need a GM. I think, by the way, this is actually embarrassing. Like, by the way, of course, former players are always going to like the guys that you drafted. What are they going to come out? Was Willie Anderson going to come out and say the Bengals are stupid? Willie Anderson, like, he works closely with that team. Of course, he's not going to come out and say it was a stupid pick. But I also believe that Willie Anderson doesn't believe it's a stupid pick, which is also concerning and says a lot about the organization. I'm just saying, I like Willie Anderson, but I don't think that, is the Chiefs owner and GM calling former players, hey, so what do you think about this guy? I'm pretty sure that, I know for a fact that when you look at the Browns, Andrew Berry, that he's not calling former Browns players saying, hey, so I think we're going to take this linebacker from Notre Dame. What do you guys think of him? Oh, you like him? Okay. No, they have a scouting department. They actually have their own team of people that convince him that it's a good pick. They don't need to call former players to sign up. That's an embarrassing organization that you have to call former players to get them to sign off on things. That's weird. Back to the phones, Kev. Who we got?
We got Chris.
Chris, how are you, sir? Welcome in.
Hey guys, I called in Friday and was pretty furious at the Bengals. I hung up on you guys. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to be a little more level-headed here.
Oh, this ain't the place for that, but I appreciate the effort. All right, what you got for us, man?
We've gotten to the point now to where now we're saying Penny Sewell isn't good.
You're right, though. It's true.
Now he hasn't played any competition, although it was suck for Sewell. Or, what is it, Tooney Watch. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to miss out on all these guys, and we're going to put this list out that has 25 linemen, and we're going to get a guy that wasn't on that list. We're going to take a second-round lineman that we could have gotten in the fourth round, and we're going to make an excuse for it. These fans, and I appreciate the fandom. I really do. But shut up. You're making us look stupid. I mean, you're making us look completely stupid. We suck. Now, don't get me wrong. Jamar Chase could be good, but he's 6 foot. He's not A.J. Green. He's not Julio Jones. He can be good. He can. But just because Joe Burrow sniffed his underwear and it was his roommate doesn't make him a better choice than Sewell, or at least give me Slater. Or how about this? Like I said, how about we get aggressive like the stupid Jets and we trade up and go get a Dillasaw, or go get one of those guys you named, Jenkins, right there at the beginning of the first? No, we'll take a fourth-round lineman in the fourth or in the second, and we'll talk about how it's good. We'll go get Riley Reef and this guy and hope to God that somebody doesn't get hurt. And by the way, we're going to act like Jonah Williams is good too. I mean, because we have to act like it, because he's really not. We wanted to revamp the entire offensive line. We were pounding the table. We need all these offensive linemen, and we end up getting 3. 2 that should have been from the fourth round back and Riley Reef. We better hope Riley Reef works out, or Joe Burrow is going to be out come week 5, like you said. And then I'm starting to think that this is a cherry on top. We picked the frickin' kicker in round 5, and it goes to the Bengals front, wherever they're drafting at, and they're high-fiving for a damn kicker. They're high-fiving for a damn kicker.
The way that the Lions responded to getting Sewell.
This is how stupid this franchise is. Meanwhile, down up north, they get the 19th and 20th player that's on everybody's board, and they get the 19th player at 52, and we want to talk about how bad they suck. Are you freaking? I've lost my mind. Like I said, I appreciate the fandom, but now we're just reaching stupid level. We are just reaching stupid level, and I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Let me ask you this. A team that has spent $250 million the last 2 off seasons combined, have they spent enough and drafted enough to get out of the basement? I don't know if what they've spent takes. I don't think their defense is better than the Browns, Ravens, or Steelers. And with that offensive line being a huge X factor and a question mark, I don't think that they've spent or done enough to take them above the Browns, Ravens, or Steelers. So they've done all of that just to run in place, and that's why I'm being so critical. Is because it's not. I'm not a Bengals fan, but the AFC North has an opportunity to have 4 playoff caliber teams with the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns. rounds and the Bengals, but the Bengals have spent way more than every other team in the division. They had way more draft picks than everyone else in the division, and yet they didn't take a step forward. And that's not me hating. That's the reality. Am I wrong?
No, it's reality. These fans just don't want to see it. Now, let me say this. I love the 3rd round pick.
The kid from Texas. I agree with you.
Kid from Texas. That is a great pick.
That's if you take a first-round caliber offensive lineman in the 2nd round. If you get Jamar Chase, one of the really good offensive linemen in the 2nd round, and then you get the defensive guy from Texas. My goodness, you won the first 3 rounds. Hell, I couldn't even argue with that, and I just don't get it.
If you trade up from your 2nd-round pick and you get that Dillashaw, you win the draft because now you've got protection and you got a 3rd receiver. There's always going to be a Jamar Chase in the draft. Every year, there's going to be a Jamar Chase. In my opinion, there's not always going to be a Penny Sewell. Just because I think if I look at everybody in this draft, I think he is the top player that has a chance to hit Hall of Fame. Now, of course, we don't want to say that already.
No, you're right. Chris, last thing before I got to let you go, but listen, this is what's coming in. You talked about the craziness of the fans. This comes from Charles on Facebook. He says, we needed a kicker because they missed the playoffs in 2006 because of a kicker. Brian on Facebook says, hey, no hate on Sewell. He's a great player. Okay, I clicked the wrong one. Brian, good comment for once. How about that? Where does this go? I lost the other one. But they're defending everything. They're literally talking about the importance of having a kicker, and they're talking about the importance of the defense. We're not saying the defense wasn't important, but it wasn't the priority. Especially, you spent all your money on defensive free agency. Why would you use the draft on top of that when you didn't address the offensive line?
We have Mike Brown, and we're acting like we're intelligent.
There you go.
Have a good one, guys.
Take care. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers and Orion Sports Medicine. Charles is calling us out and me out, and he said Kev Nash runs Dayton, but it is definitely the I Hate the Bengals show. It's not like they had a good draft and I'm bashing them. They didn't address the offensive line. They took 3 offensive linemen out of 10. Yes, one came in the top 3, and it was a 4th-round graded guy in the 2nd round, and then you didn't address it again until way later in the rounds, which, Kev, you made a good point on that. We'll step away for a few moments. 457-9464. So you guys could say I'm wrong all you want, but so far, according to the callers today, I've had more callers agree with me than disagree with me. So, again, I think that's a first. It's the loud minority on Facebook and Twitter that I'm letting, I got to stop thinking that they speak for all Bengals fans. I've been unfair to Bengals fans because there are very intelligent Bengals fans that have called into the show and have said, hey, our team, they're making mistakes. They're the realistic Bengals fans. I trust those guys. I don't trust guys like Jake and some of these others who kept telling me they don't need Sewell because of all the first-round names that are going to be available in the 2nd. Then they pass on those guys, and now those same guys, Kev, that were telling me of all the names that they needed to get that were first-round caliber talent in the 2nd round are now filling the timeline with, we missed the playoffs in 2006 because we didn't have a kicker, so that's why we drafted a kicker. That's the kicker. We'll be back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Folks, you show it, we'll feed it. Quality show feeds from Lowe's, Umbarger, Hunter at a great price, along with Sullivan Show products right here at Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Do you have an old sports program, baseball, photo, ticket, or game-used equipment just collecting dust? Sports Investments wants to buy your sports memorabilia. They're also interested in old sports cards and also buying political, aviation, and entertainment items. Bring your collectibles to Sports Investments and get a fair value on the spot. If you decide to sell, they'll pay you immediately. Sports Investments is the largest buyer of memorabilia and cards in the area since 1993. Sports Investments also feature the best selection of autographed memorabilia, sports cards, and other collectible items for sale, including all your favorites like Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Bengals, the Browns, the Big Red Machine, UC, XU, UK, NKU, UD, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, just to name a few. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
I need these boxes in bin 7. Oh, hello. Hi. I just wanted to call in and find out when next...
Whitney's warehouse foreman just retired, and the replacement needs to move to fulfillment.
Hold on. Guys, can we get the dock cleared now?
Indeed can help her hire the people she needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you can pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Unlimited audio streaming is yours with Audible Plus. Enjoy thousands of select Audible originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 72. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, a low near 63. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, also with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 74. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
To make sure that the air in your home is absolutely perfect, call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They are offering up to $1,800 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Hello.
Darling, where are you?
Why, honey, I'm at my favorite store, Rule King. I'm getting my mom some flowers for Mother's Day.
Oh, good. Pick up my mama something special while you're there as well.
Friends, don't forget Mother's Days are coming up real soon, so get your mom something special from Rule King. Nobody beats their prices.
Get all of the moms in your life something special, you hear?
Yes, dear.
Thank you.
Hey Dayton, this is Dan First, 5th generation at First Florist and Greenhouses. Our garden center is now open for this season and full of beautiful garden plants, vegetables, and more. You'll be amazed at the quality and volume of plants in stock. So stop in and visit us at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton. Call us at 937-223-1213 or visit us online at firstflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, florist.com.
Shop First Florist and Greenhouses, celebrating 116 years in business.
Hi, my name is Brian Summers, an attorney with Kirkland & Summers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland & Summers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
Spring is here, the grass is starting to grow, and you need to mow now with 0% for 42 months retail financing on new Hustler zero-turn mowers. That's right, qualified buyers can enjoy 0% for 42 months on qualifying Hustler zero-turn mowers. Come in to Small Engine Service Pros today and get that Hustler Turf zero-turn lawnmower you've been dreaming of. Qualified buyers with minimum purchase. Other restrictions apply. See dealer for complete details. Visit Small Engine Service Pros, 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Have you heard about the Clerk of Court's dedicated help center? If you're looking for legal information or just want to know what programs and resources might be available to you, they can help. The Help Center cannot provide legal advice, but they can provide legal information on a variety of topics, including record sealing, protection orders, identity theft, and more. Access is free and no appointment is necessary. Visit courthouse2u.com to learn more. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-206-9977. That's 1-800-206-9977. 1-800-206-9977. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Audible Plus is everything you want to hear. Listen all you want to thousands of select originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, welcome back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll get to some interesting stuff on the draft coming up here in a moment regarding the Ohio State Buckeyes. How about that? What a draft. I mean, you look at all the Buckeyes that went, between Jonathan Cooper, Sean Wade. We'll talk about Sean Wade coming up here in a moment, but, Baron Browning, Tommy Togi, I go into the Browns. Then you have your top of the draft guys like Justin Fields, Pete Warner, Josh Myers, a huge congratulations and shout out to him. I feel bad though. I thought it was like, he's going to take a block for Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be Jordan Love, but either way, it's Lambeau, baby. It's Green Bay, and it's Josh Myers. And happy for him as a Buckeye, but man, he's from the area. Not Jackson Carmen. Like I'm talking about Josh Myers, baby. That's who I'm pumped up for. But that was cool. That was a name you were wanting. We were texting during the draft. You wanted your Steelers to take it. There was a few names. I like the Steelers' first round pick. I thought they got weird. They got weird in the middle, but did they have a plan? Did you see where they were going with it?
I like it.
How about the Steelers here?
I like it. I like it, but I did want either Josh Myers or Creed Humphrey in the second round. They chose to go with the tight end from Penn State. But then I started thinking about it as like they only have one tight end on the roster, and that's Ebron. And Ebron is getting up there in age. The tight end from Penn State, he was a second-rated tight end in the NFL draft. So it's a position of need. They decided to get another weapon for the offense. I'm cool with it because they were able to double back and get the third-rated offensive lineman. Center. So it's also a position of need that they were able to fill. So I was.
You guys should have just called Willie Anderson. I mean, you guys should have just.
I would have preferred them go with the second or this first or second guard center. But I'm cool. I'm cool because they got the second-rated tight end and they got the third-rated center. So I'm cool with it, even though my preference was for job.
You don't want Ebron?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, when he catches the ball, he's fine. But Ebron's never been known as a blocking tight end, and the way that they're trying to do things this year, they're trying to, get back from, the bottom rushing to maybe at least halfway, get up to the 16th rushing team in the NFL. So you got to get another tight end that's willing to block out there. So I'm cool with it.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. Charles Mitchell on Facebook says, not sure why that's funny, talking about the Browns or the Bengals drafting the kicker. We could have drafted the top kicker that will start for us for a fourth O lineman. They're only going to keep 8 linemen active. Charles, you're not understanding. I'm about done with this because we're going in circles, and there's a lot of people saying, yeah, exactly. We will and then he ends it with this butte. We will smash Cleveland this year. Baker can't hang with Burrow. I mean, you're going for the, you're trying to out troll the troll. I get it. It's cute. It's adorable. Nice try. Nice try. Back to the phones. Kev 457-9464. Who we got?
I believe we have Jake.
Jake, how are you, sir? Welcome.
How's it going, Kenner?
Oh, is this bald Jake, Bengals fan Jake?
Yeah,
you dummy! You shaved your damn head over a kicker. I think that's about as dumb that's dumber than your team drafting a kicker.
No, listen.
Oh yeah, I'm all ears, baby. I'm all ears.
The last guy killed it when he said Baker can't hang with Burrow, whatever. I was going to defend him until he said that, then I was done. But no, the kicker is important because Randy Bullock literally lost us about 3 games last year. It's very important to have the kicker to be able to hit from long range. Just like Justin Tucker is like automatic for the Ravens. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be Justin Tucker, but if we could get a good caliber kicker, I mean, that's important. It's a weapon. That's a win or loss right there.
Look, nothing you're saying is incorrect. I agree with everything you've told me about Jamar Chase, with about your little new kicker that you drafted in the 5th round. I'm not going to tell you that some of the players they drafted are bad. What I am saying is that kicker that you keep coming at me with and saying, oh, well, they needed a kicker. Jake, I get all that. I know that they needed that, but they did not need that in spite of a better offensive line. Like, Jake, you kept telling me that they weren't going to take Sewell because they had all these first-round graded guys that they could have taken in the second. They didn't come away with one legit offensive lineman in this draft. I know you guys feel good about Jackson Carman because Willie Anderson said he's good, but I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough to say that, oh, man, they killed it this draft, because here's the deal. Jake, if the kicker pans out and Jamar Chase is a Hall of Famer and the guy they got from Texas is great, if all 3 of those end up being Pro Bowlers their rookie year, Jake, and Joe Burrow goes down because the O-line's bad again, are all of those guys worth it then? I don't think that they are. That's all I'm trying to say.
So here's my thing. All right, so circling back to the offensive line. What I was saying with Eichenberg is, after doing further research, he only plays one position. They won't move him around. That's the thing. He doesn't move well, so that's why they didn't want him. They wanted somebody that was versatile. That's why they went with Jackson Carman. The problem with Tevin Jenkins is he had a hip injury. There was a medical flag on him for his hip injury. They don't like injuries like that.
Joe Burrow's injury is something to keep an eye on.
So they passed on Jenkins. They passed on Eichenberg. They liked the Carman Jackson. Carman was always the pick there, which is why they traded back, so they could get more assets. They were probably hoping that more tackles would get picked so that way they could justify him being there, but they liked the versatility of him. And again, Paul Alexander signed off on him, Willie Anderson signed off on him, and you roast them for calling former players. But what they're doing is, it's just like, and they called Dabo Sweeney too at Clemson. All they did was check in with other people that had been around him and been like, so is this is what we're seeing good?
Yeah, but you do that in the pre-draft process. You don't do that during the draft. And again, nothing you say is going to justify taking Jackson Carman in the second when you had those other guys, man. You told me all these names. Kev, what you got?
Jake, so Willie Anderson, I mean, obviously Jackson Carman is from the Cincinnati area. So does Willie Anderson have some type of rapport with him? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he trained them.
Okay, fair enough.
And they didn't just take him to be the hometown guy. I was like, oh my goodness, that would be terrible if that's what they were doing. But no. But yeah, that's why they were passing on those guys that were already there. And again, Jalen Mayfield wasn't that good.
Okay, but you're saying, oh, that's why they passed on him. But other teams picked him up high in the draft. So why would those teams pick him up and the Bengals don't?
Tevin Jenkins fell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where he went, but I'm pretty sure he fell towards the end of that round.
So Justin Fields is going to have a legit offensive lineman.
If his hip holds up.
Hopefully Joe Burrow's hip holds up.
You mean his knee? But yeah.
No, he's out of knees. It's up to his hip now. It's going to be his ankle and his hip that you have to worry about now. I mean, it's going to look, man. Like I said, I don't think they drafted. You can give the Bengals two different grades. Grades on talent that they got. Jamar Chase is great. I like the kid from Texas. If the kicker, and by the way, I agree. We laugh at kickers all the time. But I will admit I don't understand why kickers don't get paid more money in the league, because that position right there wins so many big games for teams and it costs so many teams games. So I'm making light of the kicker, but let's be clear. I don't care if the kicker pans out to be the next Justin Tucker. I don't care if OHSAA, the guy from Texas, ends up being, an all-time great, and Jamar Chase. If Joe Burrow gets hurt this year because they took those guys before taking legit offensive linemen, and especially Penei Sewell, to me, if you think I'm annoying now, Jake, you just wait. I haven't even gone to the all-time petty level that I'm capable of.
I deserve it at that point if that's what happens.
Hey, last thing before I let you go, but just so you know, our guy Pat McAfee, he agrees with me. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I know. I
thought of you today right away.
We got Drew Chrisman.
Aye.
From Ohio State.
Jake, go polish your head, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Adios. 457-9464. So I have a few callers that agreed with me, a few that disagreed. It's not as, it's not taken off as much as I thought. I thought that more people would agree with me, but hey, no one ever does. And that's fine. I'm asking Bengals fans to call in to say that their team is bad, and that's not going to happen. But don't worry, there's plenty of other people in the world that will. Kev, who's up next?
We got Bobby.
Bob, welcome. Bobby, how are you? Bobby. All right.
This is Ray.
Oh, Ray?
Yes, sir.
Oh, how are you, Ray? Sorry about that. Welcome.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I just called in to request a new and improved Bengals situation.
I'm going to put you on hold. As soon as we find one, I'll get back to you.
These guys, man, they let us down in the draft, man. I understand you took Chase.
So tell me about yourself real quick. Your name's Ray. Ray, where you live?
Dayton, Ohio.
Okay, so you live. So obviously, you're calling into Dayton's ESPN Radio. So with that, how long have you been a Bengals fan?
As far back as I can remember, since I was a kid.
All right. So what was your expectations? Not just this draft. Let's go back to the offseason. The Bengals had it is the offseason, but the start of free agency. They had $40+ million in cap space. Joe Burrow's coming off a season-ending injury. What were you expecting your team to do in free agency, and what were you expecting them to do in the draft? I'm just curious. Did they sounds like they let you down. What did they let you down with? What were you expecting?
I was expecting us to have the best O-line in NFL, man. You got all that money to spend. You got the draft picks. You're set up prime. What do? You go draft a wide receiver. Whether he's the best one available, the best player available, you didn't address the need, man. You spit in Joe Mixon's face when you drafted Chase. You said, I don't believe in you, Joe. And that's exactly what Mike Brown and them did, man. And that is sad. That kid is a monster. And for you not to go out and put up a line that kid can run behind is just pure stupidity.
So you're more upset about them not doing right by Joe Mixon and not Joe Burrow?
Both Joes got screwed. Take your pick, buddy. These guys, you fall asleep in the press box during games.
Yes, thank you.
Do you make the sorriest excuses you can in draft and go out and get the players at bare minimum just to say you address the need instead of going out and putting forth the effort that fans deserve? These fans deserve. The true Bengals fans, not these guys you get on here with a 65 IQ. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about these guys that go out and work 12 earn hours a day, and then they buy season tickets to come watch this crap.
Well,
I mean, are you kidding me?
All right. So real quick, did you expect him to get Tooney and guys like that in free agency?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. You go get Sewell. So maybe you come up and try to move up in the second or the third and go get the second best or the best O-lineman that's available to go with Sewell. Then you got something going, man. You draft a kicker in the fifth. I mean, oh my gosh! And then they get happy about it.
That's when they showed the war room.
You got the easiest job in the world. I mean, these Bengals guys, these fans that get on here and talk all this crap, it's like duck hunt for you, bro. Man.
So, but like, that's the thing. So, like you, and there was a caller, Chris, a little bit ago. He called on Friday. He was super passionate. And there are Bengals fans out there who are just disgusted and very disappointed. Billy, another Bengals fan who I love on the page too. And I don't not love the guys that disagree with me, but some of these guys are being foolish and continuing to defend some of the craziness and the bad picks and decision making. Good. Look, the Bengals got some good players in the draft, as I've already stated on multiple occasions. But all of that means nothing. Like I said, what are these fans going to say when Joe Burrow's injured in Week 7 for the year again? And well, they at least got their kicker, right? They got Jamar Chase, right? Well, Penei Sewell is killing it for Detroit. The Bengals are going to be bragging about the receiver. Will they be bragging about the receiver and the kicker in Week 7 when Joe Burrow goes out with an injury? I'm not hoping for that, but I'm assuming it's going to happen again with this same offensive line.
No, none of us are hoping for that, but common sense tells you. You got to protect these. You got to protect the two Joes. You got wide receivers. You got Higgins. You got Boyd.
All right. I feel bad for you, man. You have some hurt in your voice. Like I want to laugh, but I feel bad laughing. There's some pain in your voice.
Oh no! You put me in a room with Mike Brown for 5 seconds, buddy, and I'll show you pain.
There we go. I don't need people threatening the owner of the bank. Actually, you know what? I got a good laugh out of that. Hey, take care. I appreciate the call.
I didn't have to be physical. Just let him answer some tough questions under the scope.
You got to wake him up first. You got to call the home first to see when visiting hours are. There you go. Hey, take care, buddy. Appreciate the call.
Hey, thanks, Jeff.
There's some. Kev, I'm not gonna lie. I've never felt bad making fun of Bengals fans until now. There's some. You guys are hurting. There's a caller, Chris, earlier. I'm genuinely concerned about his state of mind right now. I mean, Chris called in screaming and yelling and upset. I mean, we almost had to put the dump button on him on Friday. And he calls back. He's a little bit more under control, but as the conversation went on, he was getting more fired up and angry. And then that last caller, Ray, I mean, he sounded heartbroken. What was your analysis of that call, Kev? He sounded like I pictured him just like laying on a couch, just looking up at the ceiling, just opening up about his feelings. And I felt like I had to walk him through that, navigate through it. I didn't do a good job, but
I think he turned the draft off after they drafted Chase on Thursday. I think he turned it off and just said, checked out until Sunday. Like, look, man, I'm not about to watch this.
I don't blame him. Who's tell us the lineup of callers.
We got Ron in West Carrollton. We got Dickie on hold. We got James on hold, and Ray just called back.
All right. Hey, guys, we'll be back to you guys. More calls coming up on the other side. If you want to call in, 457-9464. If you want to join the craziness that is Facebook and YouTube, search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. And, of course, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, jump in on the action. You can watch us daily from 3 to 6. I mean, normally I don't dedicate 3 hours to bashing the Bengals. I usually try to keep it to an hour, but hey, it's a special occasion today. All right, we'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle knows your time is valuable. And with the extension of the tax deadline to May 17th, they've extended their days and hours just for you. If you prefer to upload your files remotely, you can use their Taxes Go app safely and securely, or call today for an appointment. Remember, veterans, active military, first responders, and frontline workers receive 25% off their tax preparation. Arrowhead Tax Service, 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. Online at arrowheadtaxservice.com.
This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
It's Teacher Appreciation Week, and this year especially, I am so grateful for the wonderful educators who are serving Ohio's students every single day. Our teachers met the challenges of the pandemic head on, adapting, innovating, and ensuring our kids could continue to learn and thrive. You deserve a huge round of applause and a thank you from us all.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, my name is Jonelle, and a little thing that I love about Chick-fil-A's new Lemon Kale Caesar salad is every tender, warm, juicy piece of grilled chicken. It's a Caesar salad, but it's different. You have the Parmesan breadcrumbs and the mixture of lemon with that romaine and kale. It's almost something I can't explain, but it'll make you want to sing. Lemon Kale Caesar.
Order the new Lemon Kale Caesar salad on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Visit your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer, East Lawn and Garden, today and step up to the Cub Cadet Ultima Series for the ultimate all-around mowing experience. These zero-turn mowers are built on a fully welded 2-inch by 2-inch square tubular steel frame and are designed to maximize strength and rigidity without wasting an ounce. And only your local Cub Cadet dealer can deliver this level of strength, speed, and control, and back it up with genuine parts, accessories, and trained service technicians so you can love to lawn for years to come. East Lawn and Garden, 1632 East Route 36 in Urbana.
Have you been seeking a final resting place for your loved one's cremated remains? Are you tired of endlessly searching to find a permanent home for a family member that gives you peace of mind, offers more security than the mantle, and doesn't cost thousands of dollars? This is Mark Davis from Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery, located at 8135 North Dixie Drive. We are pleased to announce a new product that offers families the opportunity to give their loved ones a permanent, serene, final resting place for as little as $300. Call us today at 937-890-1831.
All hit all the time.
Let's go commercial free. Even though saying we're going commercial free is technically a commercial for this station. When I say commercial free, I mean no commercials from our sponsors. But saying that is still a commercial of sorts, just to be clear. Okay, now I'm confused. Let's go commercial free. Except for this message about how we're going commercial free.
Maybe commercials about going commercial free just need a Snickers. Snickers satisfies.
So, how can I promote my new curbside pickup service?
It's possible with Staples Connect.
I need custom floor decals that'll get noticed, not just walked on.
Also possible. Staples Connect can help your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. And now get 15% off signs, posters, and decals when you spend $75 or more. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Ends 5/29. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
Audible Plus is everything you want to hear. Listen all you want to thousands of select originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
Hey Dayton, this is Dan First, 5th generation at First Florist and Greenhouses. Our garden center is now open for this season and full of beautiful garden plants, vegetables, and more. You'll be amazed at the quality and volume of plants in stock. So stop in and visit us at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton. Call us at 937-223-1213 or visit us online at firstflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, florist.com.
Shop First Florist and Greenhouses, celebrating 116 years in business.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Polking bowling centers are your connection for a clean and safe place for family fun or a great night out with friends. Join your friends in a fun summer league, adult, youth, mixed, and travel leagues. Take your pick. Polking bowling centers have a fun program waiting just for you. All summer league bowlers get a VIB pass and our end of the league party where you can win $1,000. Let the good times roll at Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive.
Your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is also the home for value. Frickers Everyday Value begins on Monday with boneless frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. Tuesday offers traditional frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. On Wednesday, enjoy a steak dinner for $6.99. And Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks for $6.99. Download the Frickers mobile app to receive loyalty points, free food, and order online. Today and every day, the home for everyday values is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers.
All right, welcome back. Hour 3. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Kev, see, we got the cameras all messed up. You're going to have to move it to move the camera up just a tad. Like right now, I just see your nose down. Oh, there's that ugly face. There we go. Actually, move it back. No, I'm just joking. Leave it. There we go. Now everyone can see the biggest examples of face for radio out there. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. There you go. You look like you're on like one of them American Idol shows. You do it like that, like the little heart thing and all that. There we go. All right, we welcome you back. Hour 3. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. A shout out to our sponsors, Kirkland and Summers. I really hope that Kirkland and Summers are not Bengals fans, because yeah. But love the sponsorship from them. I love the sponsorship from, of course, Orion Sports Medicine and the partnerships we have with them. So hour 3, and it's been all NFL draft talk, and I figured that it would be today. I expected when the show ended on Friday, I was like, I'm going to come in on Monday, and I'm probably going to have to eat a lot of crow. I really thought that, okay, I was pretty set on Penny Sewell. Should have been the first-round pick. Whatever. You're right. I'm over that. But I did think that the Bengals were at least going to make me eat my words and at least select a couple really legit good offensive linemen. They didn't come away with one. Doesn't mean that they won't pan out to be one. But when you go off of what the scouts and what everything is, the grades and everything else, like people love throwing the Pro Football Focus grades at me for the Bengals improved their offensive line, but yet they didn't take anybody that was graded higher than a fourth round grade heading into the draft. So it's funny how you could, Schlemmer used to say this all the time, and it's a no-brainer. You can make numbers sing and dance however you want.
Absolutely.
But the most important number is wins and losses, and this is an organization that has won 12 games in 3 years. But an interesting question was sent into the show on Facebook, Kev. Lamar Shelley says, if people think that Billy Price and Jonah Williams didn't work out, which I do not believe Jonah Williams has been put into that category. Billy Price, the Bengals did not pick up his fifth-year option. He'll be a free agent at the end of the 2021 season. Jonah Williams, I think he gets an incomplete. So you're going to grade his first 2 years in Cincinnati. He gets an incomplete. He had the season-ending injury. It was over before it started, unfortunately. And I did like that draft pick 2 years ago. I thought that the Bengals should have, at that point before Joe Burrow, I was like, maybe they should take Dwayne Haskins. I'm so glad that they didn't, to be honest with you. I'm very glad that they didn't. But with that being said, that was a good pickup. I still think Jonah Williams is going to be good, but the big question is can he stay healthy? But I see what Lamar's saying. So he goes on to say, so if so many people are saying that Billy Price and Jonah Williams didn't work out, why is it the end-all be-all that they didn't draft a first-round lineman? I think Jonah, Trey Hopkins, and Reif will be fine with other linemen. Lamar, basically what you're saying is well, we can't draft. We're not good at drafting first-round linemen, so why even try at all? That's what that sounds like. I know what you're I think what he's trying to say is, look, why does it matter? We never hit on our first-round linemen anyways. The only guys that have worked have been later in the draft. The problem is again, the better players you always take at the beginning. And I don't think that Billy Price is bad. I think the Bengals failed him. We talk about teams who fail quarterbacks. Bad coaching fails every position, not just quarterbacks. But I think Billy Price was a casualty there. Any team that needed a center that year was going to take Billy Price. That was not a bad pick. The Bengals made the right pick with Billy Price. They made the right pick with Jonah Williams. They've made the right picks in years past, but they've done a horrible job developing them. Now, with that being said, I feel like they made I've never ripped the picks that they've made, Kev. I liked Billy Price, Jonah Williams. I don't have an opinion of him either way. When he's been healthy and on the field, he's been solid. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to rip Jonah Williams. But the Billy Price thing, the Bengals have made good picks at offensive line. And what I mean by that is at the time coming into the draft and the grades that they're getting, the Bengals make the right picks. They don't pan out. Maybe Jackson Carman pans out because we're saying he wasn't the right pick. That's what makes the draft so crazy. Yes, there's an art and science to it. Yes, there's so much homework that goes into it. I just don't like things when I hear that the Bengals are calling Willie Anderson for his advice on what they should do with that pick and should they take him. Are you kidding? That's why you have a scouting department. That's why you have, that's why you need a general manager. That's why you need your own team to give you those answers. You shouldn't be calling around. Now, again, if you're doing the whole, I'm calling his college coach, I'm calling this just to check up on him. But when they say, we called Willie Anderson to get his advice before we drafted it. What? Why? You need him to sign off on it? Why are you going to call Andy Dalton the next time you need to get advice on a quarterback that you need to draft after Joe Burrow's career ends way too early because you won't protect him? I don't get that at all.
I think what he's trying to say is kind of like what you talked about a couple weeks ago. It's a crapshoot. We just don't know, man. We don't know how these dudes are going to react to NFL coaching. We don't know how these dudes are going to act now that they're paid athletes and everything like that. I think he's just saying this whole thing is a crapshoot. Yes, it's somewhat of a crapshoot, but you got to go with the highest rated talent. And it does say something if all the draft scouts have a certain list and your team has a different list. Now, you can be the smartest guy in the room and make that pick and it all pans out, which could happen. But when everybody kind of has the same board, that kind of tells you one thing, all right, these are the top rated guys, especially at the offensive lineman position, because it's not a position of style. A quarterback has a style and an offense has a style. An offensive coordinator has a style and a preference of how they want their guys to play. I want a pure pocket passer, a pure drop back guy like Dan Marino, or I want a guy that can escape the pocket like Aaron Rodgers and move up around the pocket, kind of like how the debate was going around two polar opposites about Mac Jones and possibly Justin Fields, or Trey Lance. Those are two polar opposites. You can have that debate about which guy you want to lead your team or be a part of your team. You really don't get that with offensive linemen. Hey, Can he block? Can he roll grade? Is he smart? Sign him up. Let him play for me. So, like, it doesn't really happen like that with offensive linemen like it does with the quarterback position or running back position.
Marvin Gordon says Willie Anderson also the scouting for the I don't know. Willie Anderson also the scouting for the Bengals. He wants his own camp in Atlanta for offensive linemen. That's why they called him. Marvin, look, it doesn't matter. Willie is not a part of the Bengals staff. Like, what? That doesn't make sense. Every franchise has former players that run camps, that do their own thing. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't hurt to call just to, hey, man, we're thinking about taking, Jackson Carman in the draft. What's your grade on it? What did Willie Anderson say to convince you that he was worth a second-round pick? Like, because Willie Anderson needs to be an agent for a lot of people. Then if Willie Anderson can convince you that Jackson Carman's a second-round pick, Willie Anderson, if I ever need an agent, I'm going to call him. He probably won't say anything good about me, though, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I got to say about that. So, Willie Anderson trained Jackson Carman. If they talked to Jordan Palmer about Joe Burrow, it would be the same thing. Again, we are talking about talking to them and calling them to basically sign off on us taking him. And that's what the reports were coming out, is that the Bengals called him and that because of what he said, they took Jackson Carman. Willie Anderson's one opinion about Jackson Carman is why you take him in the second round. Charlie, stop being foolish. Stop. Now, he'll probably pan out, and not because the Bengals are geniuses. It's just because that's how the draft typically works. The guys that you think are going to be for sure hits end up not working, and the guys that you took chances on sometimes work. That's the nature of the draft. Jamar Chase. I like Jamar Chase. I'm still not sold that he's going to be as great as what everyone is saying, mainly because, Kev, how many times do we do this every year? Every year there's a core of receivers that we sit there and we just drool over. Now, maybe not you and I, but that the draft nerds that basically just honed in on. Last year it was Henry Ruggs, right? And he was supposed to be the face of that wide receiver core. He wasn't. I mean, it took a late round pick in Justin Jefferson to really be the face of that wide receiving core. CeeDee Lamb was pretty solid for the Cowboys. Once Dak went out, you really didn't get a good feel for him the rest of the year just because the offense was in flux. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. To act like Jamar Chase is just a slam dunk. I mean, the fans are excited about him. He's going to push some jerseys. It should work, right? Like it worked in college, but I'm not a big fan of that mindset. Well, they worked well in college. We saw a lot of those scenarios pan out in this draft, Kev, where you see former teammates in college are now being teamed up in the NFL. But I think that speaks to the nature of the college game and the passing attack in which, the style of play now. It's not that this is new. It's just that there's so many pro-style offenses being run in college now compared to in decades past that now it's going to be more common moving forward that, yes, when you have LSU, who statistically one of the best teams of all time, you're going to have a lot of options from that team to pick from. Joe Burrow had many weapons. He had Justin Jefferson. He obviously had Jamar Chase. He obviously had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, he had talent all over the place. He had great offensive linemen. He had, tight ends, defensive guys. Yes, you're going to see that more because you're going to see a lot more of those pro-style offenses in college, and you're going to see it a lot, moving with top quarterbacks, top receivers being taken like that.
Coincidence. I'm going to just say it's a coincidence.
That's what you're going to say?
I'm going to say it's that because it just so happens that Alabama had all these high-quality receivers, and those teams needed a receiver. And it just so happened. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, like, oh, man, because you didn't see any Clemson receivers going to Jacksonville. You didn't. I mean, the Powell kid didn't end up with Jacksonville. Like,
they did the ETN thing. But, yes, yeah, I agree. But
I just don't see it that way. Like, Alabama's loaded. Like, plain and simple. Like, they're loaded. They had 4 dudes the last 2 years going the first round from the same position, the wide receiver position. And now Alabama's producing quarterbacks in the first round. It just so happened that those guys are the best at their position, and those teams are in need of wide receiver. I mean, you didn't see anybody talking like, oh, man, let's get some Ohio State receivers with the Chicago Bears. It's just coincidence.
Charles says, you stopped reading my comment because you know I'm right. Charles, we've taken a ton of calls today, and so many Bengals fans have called in to say that guys like you and others are embarrassing your own fan base. And you're going to say, because you know I'm right? I do not. I've just been preaching for 4 months that you are not right. I'll go back and read it. Willie Anderson trained Jackson Carman. If they talked to Jordan Palmer about Joe Burrow, it would be the same thing. They both happen to play for the Bengals, but they currently train players for the NFL. Why wouldn't they ask? You could ask all you want. But the Bengals, their scouting department's horrible. They don't know what they're doing, look at the product on the field. What do you mean? They got good players. They got Joe Burrow. He had the number one pick. I never give people, by the way, the Jaguars, I don't give them credit for taking Trevor Lawrence, Kev. Duh, that's an easy one. You know what I mean? I don't give the Bengals credit for taking Joe Burrow. The teams I give credit for, if the Niners hit with Trey Lance, they're the real MVPs of the draft. If the Patriots select Mac Jones and that works out, they're the real MVPs of the draft. When you're the Bengals and you draft Joe Burrow, it better work out, right? If not, that's on you. If you're the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence doesn't work out, that's on you. And
the chances are that it's quote unquote working out with Trevor Lawrence aren't high. I mean, you got to think about it.
I agree.
Think about it. They had how many first round draft quarterbacks in Jacksonville history? They drafted Byron Leftwich. They drafted Blake Bortles. They drafted, what was the other guy they drafted? Oh man, he's the same draft as Cam and Jake Locker. Blaine Gabbert.
Oh yeah, Blaine's still kind of hanging around the league too.
Yeah, he's hanging around getting that paycheck. Way to go, Blaine. But those are the guys that they picked in the first round at the quarterback position. Out of those guys, obviously Leftwich is the best guy, and Leftwich, his best years were with Jacksonville, but he's more known as a backup quarterback and now offensive coordinator. So I mean you hate to say it like this, but there's not too many guys that are drafted in the first, especially first overall, that end up being what we think they're going to be.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, we love, and I've said this about Jackson Carman earlier. If Jackson Carman wasn't relatively local, would Bengals fans be, you know what I mean? I do believe we fall into that trap of, oh man, Jackson Carman, he's a local kid. That's great. He's going to be playing for the NFL. We fall into that trap. If Jackson Carman was some random dude from Florida, would Bengals fans still be defending him the way that they're defending Jackson Carman? I don't believe so. And I believe Jackson Carman is an easy get because Mike Brown doesn't span the globe when he's looking for talent. It's who's that one kid? He lived about an hour from here. Well, what's his name? Well, let's draft him. Because that's the cheap and easy way to go.
The funny thing is he wanted to get out of Ohio. That was one of his reasons for going to Clemson. He wanted
unfortunately,
to get out of Ohio and everything like that. And he loved Clemson and everything like that. Worked out for him. He's a second-round pick, making some good money playing the sport he loves and all that good stuff for sure. But now you're back in the OHIO. And not only back in Ohio, but you back in your basically hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. That's pretty funny. That's life, man. That's life.
Lamar Shelley says the coaching department is terrible, so I'm not changing my mind on the draft until we get a decent coach with a veteran staff around him. I agree with you. Someone that's legally able to drink. Charles Mitchell says Paul Alexander and Willie Anderson no more than the guys calling in trashing our draft. I trust them because they eat, sleep, and breathe O-line. Okay, Charles, riddle me this. Years ago when Willie Anderson was really high up on the Bengals taking Billy Price, what happened there? And I'm not questioning Willie. And see, this is what happens. I get so into these arguments with people that I end up trashing people that I don't really believe what I'm saying. But I know Willie Anderson is very intelligent and knows what the hell he's talking about and doing. But again, at the same time, to sit there and say, well, Willie Anderson said he's good, so there you go. That doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't, because it's coming from an organization that has whiffed on so many offensive line picks and is choosing not to go there. What else we got?
I think that just goes back to the chicken or the egg argument that we constantly have. Are the guys that they're picking bad football players, or are they not being coached up to their maximum capability?
That one.
And if they're not being coached up right, that's the bigger issue. That's the bigger problem than them actually making these picks, because you talked about it before. The picks that they were making in the past with the Billy Price and the Jonah Williams, those are the guys that you want to pick, and those are the right spots for them to go, and they didn't pan out. So are they not being coached up well enough, or these guys just don't have that dog in him to be a great NFL player? So those are the bigger issues for me. So if they're not being coached up well, that's a major red flag, no matter who you pick. If they're not being coached up well, because let's not forget, man, these guys are 22, 23 years old. They still need to be coached. They don't know everything. This is a major jump from college to the NFL. So they need to be coached up well, not only on the field, but in the film room as well. It's a ton that they need to learn. So if the guys that are paid to coach them and teach them the game of football aren't doing that well, then that's a red flag. That's bad business for everybody. That's bad business for Joe Burrow. That's bad business for the running backs. That's bad business for the wide receivers, and bad business for the fans.
Yep. He goes on. Charles says again, Willie Anderson trashed Bobby Hart constantly. Everyone did. He doesn't love every lineman the Bengals have. Charles, can you find evidence that Willie Anderson does not love every offensive lineman they have? Because let me ask you this. It is, you said bad business, right? You want to know what's also bad business? If you are if you run camps to help guys get to the NFL, and then when the NFL calls to ask about these guys, you publicly say, yeah, they're trash. So when the Bengals say, we called him to ask about Jackson Carman, what is he supposed to say? Because if he says that Jackson Carman, I wouldn't take him in the second round, then guess what's going to happen? Jackson Carman and all the other big offensive line prospects out there are going to say, screw you, dude. I probably paid money to go to your camp for you to tell people I'm good. So there's that aspect. It's like travel baseball and softball for you parents out there who, oh man, those teams really want me. No, they really want your money. So Willie Anderson really wants the top offensive line prospects to give him their money so that he could tell them they're great, tell teams they're great, that everyone's like, man, he helped us get to the NFL. Boom, keep giving him money. So riddle me this. When have you ever heard Palmer or any of these guys say he is not good? These guys train them, but when have you said that they're not good? Not that I'm saying that these guys are lying, but Kev, like, you know what I mean? Like when you train somebody, you feel a close relationship to them. So you want to be a part of their journey to get there. So you might talk them up a little bit more than what they are. We've talked about this before with Urban Meyer. And I'm always curious, like what happens when these pro teams call like Nick Saban and others and say, so tell me about him. Would Urban Meyer or Ryan Day say, oh no, Justin Fields doesn't have a good work ethic? What if Justin Fields did not have a good work ethic and they was spot on? What if Ryan Day actually told the truth and said, yeah, he doesn't have a good work ethic? Then you know what would happen? Ryan Day would not get any top recruits ever moving forward because they're going to say, oh, he trashed his own guy and kept him from getting to the NFL. By the way, that's not what happened. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just using an example. The bottom line is I hate when people say, oh, I talk to people. They talk to people. Willie Anderson said he's great. Well, that's not Willie Anderson. What's he going to say? That he's bad? Willie Anderson, that hurts Willie Anderson's brand. Willie Anderson trained him. But you know what looks good for Willie Anderson? Hey, you want to come to my camp? I'm Willie Anderson. I helped Jackson Carman get to the NFL. You know what doesn't help Willie Anderson? Hey, come to my camp. I've trained a lot of bad offensive linemen that couldn't get to the NFL. Stop with that. I don't care what these guys have to say. Bengals, you have your own scouting department. Figure it out, just like every other team has to. Who we got, Kev?
We got Ben.
Ben, how are you? Have you been?
Hey, I'm all right. How are you guys?
It depends how this call goes. So how did you feel about the Bengals draft? I'm assuming you're a Bengals fan?
Yes, I am. They were good and they were bad. Now, I agree. Would I would like them to flip the order, per se, of wide receiver and lineman? Yes. The time will tell, I guess, as they say. But really, to me, I think overall they did pretty good. They could have done a little better. And for the most part, I agree with you guys for what you're saying. The only part that I disagree with is that there's only one team that's been consistently great on drafting and developing teams, and that would be the New England Patriots, just because they've done it obviously the best way possible because they've won over and over and over again. So, even Pittsburgh can't say that, even though they do have a lot of Super Bowl rings, don't get me wrong. But lately, Pittsburgh can't say that. The Browns can't say that. Baltimore can't say that. Nobody else can except for the Patriots. So really, when it comes down to developing players, no other team has really done good in that category at all, except for New England. No, we're all sitting there with hardly, except for Pittsburgh, but hardly, at least between Baltimore has a couple, but between the Browns and Bengals, we both have zero.
So you talk about the Patriots and their ability to draft well. They do a great job. There's one position that they do not do a good job of, and that is drafting wide receiver. And if you're not good at drafting a position, you stay away from it. For instance, if you look at what the Patriots did this draft, they drafted quarterback, defensive tackle, defensive end, running back, linebacker, safety, tackle, and they picked a wide receiver with their final pick in the 2021 NFL draft. The Patriots don't draft wide receivers because they know that's they're not good at that. They go to the free agency route to get their receivers and to get their playmakers, their pass catchers, their tight ends, and that's what they did because the Patriots are good at pinpointing their weaknesses. And they say, okay, we don't draft receivers well, so we're going to spend money on pass catchers, and then we'll use our draft picks on positions that we are pretty good, like at running back and on the defense especially. So the Cincinnati Bengals, I agree with everything you just said, but my concern is that there's nothing wrong if you're the Bengals and you just accept that we do not draft offensive linemen well. well. So we need to spend money on offensive linemen. And I was telling Kev this earlier. I said, you know what? If the Bengals would have spent money in free agency, if they would have signed Tooney and signed Zeitler, and then they had and Riley Reef and all of them together, if they would have done that and then had the draft they just did, I would be applauding them right now. I would be saying that's a kick-ass move, because if they would have actually signed Tooney and Zeitler in free agency when they had $40+ million cap space, and then they did what they just did in the draft, I would be concerned as a Browns fan. I would be very concerned as a Browns fan. But right now, I'm not concerned. So I just feel like that, they didn't just fail the draft as far as Joe Burrow's offensive line is concerned. They failed the offensive line in Joe Burrow because they didn't even try in free agency. That's the problem I had. It's the offseason as a whole.
Well, I mean, for the most part, yes, but they did try on a few guys, and you got outbid.
It's not outbid. But when you say outbid, they wouldn't pay market price. I mean, you knew you were going to have to spend money on Joe Tooney. They're not good enough to get hometown discount. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I know what you're saying. They were going after those guys, but they couldn't afford $8 million for Kevin Zeitler.
Well, I mean, hey, like I said, I agree with you in some areas. It's just some areas. It's just, hey, we're both sitting at zero. So both of our teams must not be doing very good with developing who we have.
Fair enough.
So that's the only part I see. Otherwise, I agree with you guys. And by the way, I think you guys do a great job at what you're doing here.
Thank you.
And this is coming from a Bengals fan. That really hurts. But got a little lump in my throat there, but
No, you brought up a lot of good points. I like the point you made about the draft and how the Patriots, but like with the Patriots, like I said, they know their weakness is wide receivers, so they don't draft wide receivers, so they spend their money on pass catchers. I think that the Bengals, if they decided to pass up on Sewell, I could have forgiven them for that if they would have spent money in free agency on the line, then do what they did. If they would have got the O-line in free agency, man, and then added Jamar Chase and then got the guys that they did, I'd be like, holy crap, look out. I just feel like they're still running in place from where they were a year ago. Slightly upgraded at multiple positions. I'll give them that, but I still think that O-line's a huge concern. That's all. So
I got you guys, and I got you guys' back. I don't know what that guy is saying on the other side, but he doesn't represent all Bengals fans. We can come together and talk about this rationally.
There we go. What's your name again?
It's Ben McFall.
Ben. All right. This is Ben. Excellent talking to you, Ben. You take care. I appreciate the call.
You guys too. Bye-bye.
I think I'm going to start a new list. That's going to be a list of the rational Bengals fans who actually know what they're talking about. Like him, we technically disagreed, but we both made our good points, and we both came together at the end. He didn't say no dumb things like Charles, like, oh, we're going to slice and dice the Browns. Like, he's still in the comment section of it.
No name calling?
No, name calling is totally acceptable on this show. Oh, if anyone out there that tells you to act like an adult, you don't have to be an adult from 3 to 6 if you call into the show. I promise you that much. Name calling is preferred. What
about emojis?
Oh, especially the emojis, middle finger emojis, crap emojis, whatever emojis, you still emojis. We got to give context. You want to talk about, you can't just, instead of making me sound like I'm on a bunch of pills or something. I take high blood pressure medicine. Okay. And it's not even a pill. It's like a tablet, Kev. It's like really tiny, but yes, the pill emojis, there you go. That's the meter. When people see my blood pressure going up and I start getting angry, I already start seeing people load up the chat section with the little pill emojis. So there you go. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Oh, Ray Arp says, I better be on that list, sir. You know what? We're going to start. Ben is an awesome caller. I'm going to add Ray Arp. We had some good Bengals fans call today, Kev. Even the fans that called in that were just, I felt bad for a few of them. They were ready to cry.
Who was that? It
was Chris. There was Chris.
Or was it Mark?
There was Ray. I think it was Ray. That's Ray Arp, but there was another one.
Okay, yeah, Ray. Yeah, I got to get that audio.
Ray Arp. Ray, I got a question. You on Facebook, Ray Arp, that just commented that I better be on that list. Was that you that called, Ray? Leave that, answer that in the comment section, would you? I'm just curious. I'm trying to put faces with some names here. But I'm going to make an apology. Not all Bengals fans are as bad as what I said at the beginning of the show. I apologize. I have a habit of when one or two people say stupid things, whatever fans of the team that they are, I lump everyone in that. I have learned today that there are good Bengals fans out there.
Good for you.
Very smart, intelligent Bengals fans out there. They, that commercial that comes out every Christmas, the M&M commercial, and they're the red and yellow M&M. They're looking at the presents under the tree. They turn around and they see Santa Claus, and he does exist. And then he says, they do exist. Picture Kinner and some Bengals fans today in that same commercial. Rational Bengals fans. They do exist. There you go. That was Ray Arp says, yes, that was Ray. Nice to finally put a face with the name. There you go. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers and Orion Sports Medicine. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 72. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, a low near 63. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, also with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 74. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance, and if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms can mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Introducing the most highly anticipated handheld device to date. Superior design with interactive smart display, 7 personalized smart modes, and AI technology the world has never seen.
I think you're gonna wanna see this.
And the most surprising part is, we're talking about a toothbrush. The new Oral-B IO electric toothbrush. Get the wow of a professional clean feel every day.
Make it say wow.
Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Nissan believes you deserve a car that thrills you. So we have to ask, does your car thrill you? When you hit the pedal, do you get something back? A chill in your spine, goosebumps on your goosebumps. When you take off, do your fingers tighten around the steering wheel? Does your heart beat in your stomach and your breath catch in your chest? Does driving make you feel alive? Because it should. And if your car doesn't thrill you, ours will. This is the new Nissan.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
What are real people saying about Skechers Arch Fit footwear? Joe from Hilton Head says, excellent product. I need arch support, and these shoes have it. Joe, Skechers Arch Fit don't just have arch support, they have podiatrist certified arch support that was developed with over 20 years of data. These shoes are great for virtually everybody. Next, Pete from New York writes, great for walking. I stand a lot of work and the Arch Fit keeps me comfortable. My feet don't feel tired at the end of the day. Okay, Pete gets it. He's walking, working, just limited Skechers Arch Fit. And since Arch Fit is the ultimate solution for all-day comfort, his feet still feel good after a long, long day. Now let's hear what Retired for Life from Florida has to say. Bought these for use as everyday wear shoes. The arch support is amazing. All right, look, she's getting the support she needs, and she's also sneaky smart wearing these every day because Skechers Arch Fit are machine washable, so you can keep them looking great no matter how much you wear them. She's a genius. Feel for yourself what everybody's raving about. Find podiatrist certified Skechers Arch Fit at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Unlimited audio streaming is yours with Audible Plus. Enjoy thousands of select Audible originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland & Summers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Tune into tomorrow's show for another 3 hours of why the Bengals are horrible.
Hey, did we get to any other topic today? I know we had like a list of things that we wanted to talk about today.
Went where the callers took us.
No NBA talk today, huh?
Keep in mind, I opened up with the Browns. We opened up with the Browns. And I will say this, like I said, two things can be true. The Bengals signed really, really good players in the draft, and they did an absolute horrible job of addressing their number one need. Both can be true. Like, people were confused thinking that I was saying Jamar Chase is a bum. It's not a bum, but I just don't think that non-bum needed to be taken then. I also don't think Jamar Chase is as good as what everyone is making him out to be. College talent, absolutely. Will it pan out in the NFL? I don't know. Every year we do this. Every year we are told that these wide receivers are going to be fantastic, and then you get a 5th-round pick. You get all these guys. I mean, hell, Donovan Peoples-Jones is one of the biggest contributors to the Browns last year, and he was a 7th-round pick. I mean, I don't. Look, stop with that. I'm not going to hear that again. A wide receiver was taken over an offensive lineman. I don't care how talented they are. Both were super talented, so it doesn't matter. But the point is, one need was way more important than the other. Kev, 457-9464. Let's jump in on the conversation. Back to the phones we go. Kev, who we got? Bobby, welcome. How are you?
Justin, go Browns.
Give it to him.
How you doing, Pittsburgh?
There it is.
Good, man.
Go Browns, baby.
Pittsburgh, you guys did well. You did really well, but the Browns totally killed it in the draft. I mean, they killed it. And I will say, Commissioner Goodell needs to step in and take the Bengals away from Mike Brown for being an idiot and a moron and owning a franchise, and all he's done is take into the ground. You can't justify any of those picks. I'm sorry, but you can't. Whatever these Bengals fans are saying right now, I can't justify anything. You don't trade down to get more picks and to waste them. You guys have been talking about this all day, and I am totally on board with what you guys been saying. Everything that's true. And these Bengal fans just amaze me every single year with this stuff.
Yeah, my big thing when they traded back, and people are like, oh, that's genius. You get more picks. Well, I would like quality over quantity. I think quality over quantity means more, especially, if you got, 3 additional picks or whatever. If you get 3 average players and passed up on a really, really good player, are those 3 players worth it? I mean, I don't think you've ever read that in a math equation before, but I'm just saying, if this was a word problem, are 3 players better than 1 really, really good player? I don't think so.
Exactly. And these guys, one caller called in and said, well, this guy had issues. He had this issue, whatever. You know what? You don't go by that. You can't go by that. You know how many players have been drafted that came out with a little issue mark on their chart, and they came out to be total killing it in the league? No, you can't do that. Again, that's what I have been saying. Take the team away from Mike Brown and let somebody have it that knows what they're doing, that knows football. This guy hung around the greatest football mind in ever. His dad. What did he learn or get from that? Nothing at all. That's what amazes me. It boggles my mind.
Do you think it's an ego thing of like, I think Mike Brown hates being told that his line is bad so bad that I think he wants the line to work so bad that he wants it to work with his guys. Is there a chance that that's the case? Because, I mean, Kev, I mean, it's your team. I mean, it's not even a matter about, man, I want this line to work. It should just be all about Joe Burrow, protecting Joe Burrow, and not like taking a chance of protecting Joe Burrow. I mean, guaranteeing it. I mean, if the Kansas City Chiefs, who have already spent so much money, can overpay to get Joe Tooney and some of these other guys to protect their investment. If you look at what the Jets did in the draft, if you look at what the Chargers did in the draft, so many teams, you look at what the Panthers did in the draft. Hell, Detroit, they're protecting their guy better than what the Bengals are, and the Lions don't have a good quarterback. So that's the thing about all this. I just can't justify why they are so stubborn when it comes to getting legit offensive line talent. Like, it just baffles me.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Justin. You're absolutely right. Pittsburgh, what are you thinking here? Come on, what are you thinking?
Hey, man, I'm gonna say it like this, man. It ain't my team, man. You know, we can go around in the bush and tell them like what they should be doing, and you know, if they're not gonna listen to the people on ESPN that actually play the game of football, like Keyshawn Johnson or you know a guy on our airwaves, Keith Byers, they're not gonna listen to us. Then they're not gonna listen to you. They're gonna actually believe everything that you know their front office is doing. And over the past couple of years, the Cincinnati Bengals haven't been doing the things necessary to win football games. Yeah, they got Joe Burrow, but what are you doing to protect him? Yeah, they got T. Higgins, but what are you doing to make sure he's able to get the ball from Joe Burrow? Yeah, you signed Mixon to a contract, but are you got guys up front that can open up holes for him? I'm with Kenner on this one. You got to fix one side of the ball before you can fix the other. It seems like they're trying to do both at the same time. As a fan of just a football, I would prefer my team go all in on one side of the ball and then go all in on the other side of the ball later. And that side of the ball would be offense since you have a young quarterback. So if you're going to be a bad football team, at least be an entertaining football team that's putting up a ton of points and like losing games like 35-38. Like at least that's entertaining. Or if you want to go like the defensive route, if they were like a great defensive team, you can lose games, you know, in a slugfest. But trying to fix it both at the same time, it just isn't working right now. And they had a chance to lock in Sewell and they chose not to.
And keep in mind, real quick to interrupt on that, or you could do both. For instance, if you want to use free agent dollars to go load up the defense, which the Bengals did, and then use the draft to go all offense, at least that makes sense. But I can't fathom why they use 6 of their 10 picks were on the defensive side of the ball. And after spending $150 million in free agency on the defense, when your priority should be to protect Joe Burrow. So that's what it made more sense too. If they would have spent every free agent dollar on the draft or on the free agency on defense, and then used all one of their 10 picks to load up on offense, then that would have made sense. You could have at least closed the gap. But right now, you sprinkled some on defense and offense, and now you're just really average on both sides of the ball. They're not better than the Browns, Bengals, or Ravens offensively. They're not better than the Browns, Ravens, or Steelers defensively. Their coach is the worst in the division. I don't think the Bengals, who have spent $250 million the last 2 off seasons combined, have done anything to get out of the basement of their own division. So
they haven't. And again, you said it earlier about this pro football focus people. What are these guys smoking? I mean, seriously, they couldn't judge a peewee team. I'm telling you, these guys have no clue what they're doing. So that being said, I'll let you guys go. You guys, I love you guys to death. You know that, but I will leave you with this. Homer quote: "You know you're really drunk when you swerve to miss the tree and realize it's the air freshener hanging from your mirror."
That's a perfect way to end that. Thank you so much for the call, man. Take care, Bobby.
You too, guys. Thanks. Love you.
He really does sound like.
Yes, he does.
That was. I didn't realize what he said, and then I'm like, that sounds like Homer. Oh, that's what he said. So yes. You know, there you go. You know, you're really drunk when you swerve to avoid the tree, and it's just the air freshener. Very well played. Who's up next, Kev?
We got Steve.
Steve, you have any impersonations you want to bring to the show?
Yeah. Why does the Bengals have Brown as owner? They will never go anywhere.
Are you talking into the phone like this? Because I can't understand you.
Okay.
There we go. Whatever you're doing there, that works better. I can hear you now. I'm sorry. All right. Can you re-ask that?
What I said is, as long as they got Mr. Brown as the owner for the Bengals, they will not get no offensive players because he is afraid to spend money.
But he's spending good money on defense. Like, I like what he's doing. I mean, I like the additions of Henderson and Hilton and those guys.
Defense don't carry the ball down the field and score touchdowns.
So he has this weird fetish with only spending money on defense and not offense? I don't disagree with you, but I'm just trying to figure out the mindset of why that would be.
Because if he don't have an offensive line, how's Burrow going to get the ball to the number one draft pick? He may be lucky if he sees the ball 5 times a game.
Well, look, I think the thing is, too, and, I've made this comparison in the past when I've said things like, so I think Burrow's being punished for last year. He threw the ball well, and he threw for almost 300 yards a game with the bad offensive line. And I'm wondering if that's Mike Brown's thinking of, well, hey, our line's not that bad. I mean, he was throwing for 300 yards a game. Right? Like, that's the only thing I could think of. I've made that joke about during the pandemic with everyone working from home, where companies are like, well, do we really need to come back to the office? I mean, look, we're doing so well working from home, but everyone's like, no, we need our resources back. We need our offices back. We want to come back. That's kind of the Bengals. Joe Burrow's getting punished for doing a lot with little.
I agree with you on that.
So, how do you think the Bengals, with all the adjustments they've made this offseason, are they better than any team in their division?
Nope.
All right. That's all I needed to hear. Hey, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, 457-9464. What up, Kev?
We got Ron in West Carrollton.
Ron in West Carrollton. Ron, we've been playing phone tag with you. We apologize about that. How are you?
Yeah, but what's up? I'm doing good. Doing good.
All right, what you got?
Explain to me why the Dallas Cowboys, who were picking 14, dropped back. I mean, picking 12, drop back to 14, and give Philly a pick at 12.
There was a couple things there. For one, they got an additional draft pick, so that's the easy one. Philly really wanted to move up because they wanted to take that wide receiver to not give the Giants another weapon. So there's that part of it, too. I don't mind what the Cowboys did. I thought the Cowboys absolutely kicked ass in this draft. I mean, it started with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons and the cornerback from Kentucky and Kevin Joseph. That was their first 2 picks. And then you look at the OHSAA Odighizuwa, the defensive tackle out of UCLA. I mean, their first 3 picks were home runs. They got Jabril Cox later from LSU. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, and they just announced that they're not picking up the option, the 5th-year option on Van Der Esch. And Van Der Esch is really, really good, but obviously dealing with some injuries and stuff. But I love what the Cowboys did defense. I mean, they literally went all defense. And that's what we've been saying about the Bengals. Pick one side of the ball and make that your primary focus. Technically, they did, though, defense, but it's the wrong side of the ball that they're focusing on.
But my thing is, you just gave Philly a pick. They picked up the wide receiver from Alabama, which is not bad for us, but still, you're trading in your division, which was nuts for me.
No, I get it. So you didn't like that? I mean, look, they got their guy. The fact that they traded back and still got the best defensive player in the draft. I mean, you can't argue that.
Oh, I'm not. The Dallas Cowboys did it. I think they did a great job, but trading back to get Philly a pick, I didn't like that deal, but, it is what it is.
Like, Philly has a lot of problems. I do like the addition with the wide receiver they added, but keep in mind, they're a project, man. They're a project. The Cowboys aren't really a project. They just got to figure out that defense. With the way they played offensively in the short stint that they had Dak Prescott last year, Dak has CeeDee Lamb. Dak has weapons all over the place. They just needed enough defense to complement the points that they put up on the offensive side. The Cowboys are going to be really, really good. I still think the Cowboys come out of that division on top. Philly's going to be improved. The Giants, if Daniel Jones takes that step forward, the Giants are going to win that division. But if Daniel Jones is just average like he was last year, the Cowboys will win that division easily, barring everyone staying healthy.
Hey, Justin, you and Kevin need to calm down about the Bengals, or else you two are going to have a heart attack.
To be fair, I bring Kev down with me.
Okay.
I make Kev look bad. Just put it that way.
You two need to calm down about the Bengals. Don't get yourself all worked up about the Bengals.
I'm not worked up at all. I love being right. The reason I love the Bengals is because every time I say they're going to do something, you have the weird Bengals fans, some of them that say they're not. I always end up right. And I was right about the Bengals screwing this draft up in regards to fixing their problem. I like some of the players the Bengals got. It's not like they picked 10 horrible players, but they didn't address their number one need. So I love being right. And the Bengals, I don't know why I hate them so much, because they make me look good. They prove me right on so many occasions.
they prove everybody right in some cases.
There you go.
What they do.
Hey, great hearing from you.
Take care, buddy.
Adios. 457-9464. Kev, we'll take a little bit.
We got one more. We got JV.
JV, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I just want to give a little perspective for the Bengals fan. It's 2025. You got a great quarterback. You got an awesome defense. You got a good head coach, but you got a terrible O-line. That sounds like the Seattle Seahawks to me.
Did you say it's 2025? I'm confused. What did you start off?
I'm saying it's the future. Perspective for the Bengals.
That sounds an awful lot like this year's Bengals and last year's Bengals. I'm just saying. But no, the Seahawks. Okay, continue.
They don't fix the offensive line. You can go 12-4. You can go 13-3. You can go 16-0. You can be good in the regular season. But if that offensive line ain't fixed, i.e. the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson, you're not going to get far. Joe Burrow's going to want to leave, and then you're going to be starting from scratch all over again. And then the Bengals fans, I'm not a Bengals fan, but the Bengals fans is going to be mad because you got a halfway good team. They're rooting hard, 12-4, but you're just another Seattle Seahawks. Good quarterback, decent defense, but no offensive line.
I don't think, look, as far as Macaulay Culkin's stunt double, I don't think he's going to leave Cincinnati. I don't think. I think. I mean, look. Right now, the Bengals are bowing down to every one of his wishes, the way Aaron Rodgers wishes the Packers would have. If the Packers would really bow down to Aaron Rodgers, he would be happy and wouldn't be trying to get out. But when you have an organization like the Bengals who are acting like they've never gotten attention from a hot girl before, the hot girl's giving them attention, and now they're like, "Oh, do you want a key to my apartment? Do you want to use my credit card? Do you want my car? I'll give you my car. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me." That's what the Bengals are doing. The Bengals look embarrassingly weak right here because they're bowing down instead of telling the quarterback, "Hey, we know you want Jamar Chase, but we'll get you some receivers coming up, but we have to make sure we protect you first." And instead, they're like, "Oh man, he says he wants my car. I got to give him my car. I got to give him." No, give me a break. Give me a break.
He's still a young professional as well. I think as time goes on, once he suffer his, I mean, I hope we don't. But if he suffer another ACL injury, he's going to understand, like, I need some offensive line help. I don't care how many receivers you draft. Prime example, look at Seattle. We drafted number one receivers not in the first round years and years. I mean, we've had Doug Baldwin, could have left and been the number one receiver. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett could have all be number one receivers that we got in low draft rounds. So,
hey, we got 20 seconds. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
I just want to help the Bengals be like, to realize, fans, you need an offensive line. When it's all said and done, you need an offensive line. No matter how good you are, how far you think you're going to go, you're not going to win the big one without an offensive line.
All right. Hey, good stuff, man. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, fellas.
All right. Last thing, we close out the show with this. Charles Kev says, "You think the Bengals are trash and the Cowboys are good? What a joke." Dak Prescott is better than Joe Burrow. CeeDee Lamb is better than Jamar Chase. I mean, you can keep going down the list. The receivers are better. The running back is better. The offensive line is better. The defense, the Bengals get the edge defensively, maybe. I got to see how it pans out. The Bengals were supposed to be good defensively last year, and they were one of the worst in the league. So
didn't they play the Bengals last year? Didn't Dallas?
Yeah, who won between that, by the way? That was a battle of wits right there, I tell you. I'll answer that for you. Just stalling here. Just, doing what you got to do. Just, by the way, Cowboys, Bengals, who's better?
Cowboys.
Okay.
Cowboys won last year, 30-7. And that was with Andy Dalton.
That was in Cincinnati.
He knew how to play in that place.
It's a tough place to play.
Andy Dalton, 16 of 23, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. A workman's effort.
So, Charles, it's not a joke. It's just the truth. The Cowboys are way better than the Cincinnati Bengals. And it is. The Bengals would finish last in the NFC least. That's it. That was my last shot of the day. Kev, thank you for being patient with me today.
Cheers.
And, thank you to the listeners for being patient with me today. I found a whole new batch of Bengals fans I love, and I feel like we're going to be a big old happy family moving forward. And for Charles and some of you others, thanks for being a good sport. Have a good night.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin